meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Good morning and welcome to Autism Live. For those of you who are just tuning in, we did a little pre-show because we wanted to make sure we could get live this morning. Because of Zoom issues yesterday, we weren't able to be live yesterday. So we have moved some of our guests from yesterday to today, and we're gonna get to them right away because we got a jam-packed show this morning. In just a little while, we're gonna have Matt Asner and Navah Paskowitz-Asner from the Ed Asner Center talking about the Ed Asner Poker Tournament. But right now, first, let me just say this. You can participate. We're going to be live for the next hour. Please write in your thoughts, questions, concerns. Remember that we're live on Facebook and on YouTube, and you can write in your questions there. We're also live on our website, autism-live.com. You can watch the podcast later on iTunes. You can watch us on, you can listen to us on iTunes if you want to. You can listen to us on Spotify or iHeartRadio or Deezer. We also are on Twitter and Periscope. So lovely. But I really want to get to our guests right away. We're not even having Jargon today. I want to welcome and thank them for being patient because we couldn't do this yesterday. We've got from Spectrum Laboratories, Jason Weissbrod, and we also have joining us Aloni Shorin. Together, they are the authors of a screenplay that is now a short film called Boys Don't Wear Dresses. It's wonderful. I loved it. And you know me, I'm going to tell you how I feel about things. I absolutely loved it. There's Jason joining us. Hello, Jason. And Aloni, is Aloni there? Can we get you to start your camera?
I'm using my mom's, so I don't know how.
Oh dear. So do you see the little at the bottom of your screen there? It says or start video. Click the start video.
I can.
And while Alani's doing that, here we go. Alani, hello, you made it.
Mom's name.
That's all right. We'll ignore that. But welcome, you guys. So I was just saying that together, you guys are the writer of this amazing screenplay that is now a short film. And you guys made the film together. The film is called Boys Don't Wear Dresses. Look at that beautiful dress in the background back there. And right now, people can watch the film because it's part of a film festival. So Jason and Aloni, take this away. Tell them about where they can be watching it.
Right now, you can go to filmpride.org, and it's in England. It's a film festival in Sussex, the Sussex region in England. It's one of the, I think it's the second or third, so huge Pride festival in England, and it goes all month. But for right now, for the last 2 weeks of the month, they do a festival, the Film Pride Festival, and to showcase so many amazing movies. I'm so amazed that we're a part of it. I've watched a ton of the movies. So not only can you see Boys Don't Wear Dresses at filmpride.org, but you can watch a whole bunch of LGBTQ+ movies and stories that are just phenomenally moving and great. And so that's our second film festival we've gotten into. We're up to 6 now.
Wow.
Which is pretty amazing. So we have 2 festivals next month we're in. We got one in October, and then one to be decided, as they haven't decided yet. So we're still getting news, and we're on the film festival circuit. Yeah.
Amazing. So maybe you guys could talk a little bit about how this film came to be. What was the inspiration to make this? Because it's wonderful. And well, maybe before we get to that, maybe we should do the elevator pitch of what's the film about.
I'll do the elevator pitch, and then Aloni, you can maybe talk about the inspiration because it's inspired by your journey. The elevator pitch, I would say, is a family-friendly story about an autistic transgender individual exploring independence while struggling with their sexual identity.
I love that. And I think that that's a really accurate depiction. I would just say to people, it's a beautiful story, and it's funny, it's tender, it's sweet. If it doesn't bring a tear to your eye at one point or make you laugh, then check your pulse. Because I'm welling up thinking about it. I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and I think it's an important film for our time and for our community to see. And I love what you said about it being family friendly. It absolutely.
Well, that's in big part due to Aloni coming to me and talking about how a lot of the stories and stuff we would see in the LGBTQ+ community, and even in the autism community, a lot of the movies and short films and things that were out there, the subject is very taboo or controversial or dark or sometimes very, not feel good, and you can't watch it with kids. It's not like stories for kids who can learn about, the LGBTQ+ community or autism community in a family-friendly way. So it was Alani's idea to center it around the fairy tale of Cinderella.
Yeah.
So it was really Cinderella was the inspiration, and then it just took off. Then we started putting animation in there. We got Tom Kenny in there, who's the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants, and it just started becoming, due to it being partly involved with Spectrum Laboratory, which is the nonprofit that I run, which is we always try to do family-friendly type of entertainment for the autism community. So it's just this, we wanted to make a really feel-good, positive movie. And this time, now more than ever, a good feel-good fairy tale fun story was super needed. So Aloni and I that was why we went with the family-friendly Cinderella fairy tale.
Love it. Love it.
The story. Yeah.
So Aloni, maybe you could tell us a little bit about, and I know you got something going on there, but we're able to see you pretty well. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about how this came about. Why did you and Jason decide to tell this particular story?
All
right, there we go.
Well,
it's a big question.
Yeah.
This is a personal story for you, right?
Yeah.
And in this screenplay, we see this wonderful young man who has these feelings that are inside of him, that are important to him, that other people are telling him are not right. And we see some of the things. Is that how you felt as a young child?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aloni, do you want to tell the inspiration of our story? The opening of our film, Aloni came to me and told this story that had to do with the opening of our film. You want to tell that? And that was kind of the inspiration of Boys Don't Wear Dresses. Do you remember that, Aloni?
If you said it, I'll just tell the rest.
Yeah, why don't you kind of say, Aloni came to me and wanted to write a story about what you were going through, right?
Right. And the interesting thing was that originally it would have been me as a gay guy, but then as the time went on writing it, the more I came to be my true self.
That's amazing. And I have to say, Jason, that really speaks to the work that you do. See, I'm emotional about it, but it speaks to the work that you do at Spectrum Laboratories, because you have individuals who come in who are there to take a class, and you help them to express themselves as artists, and in doing so, to find themselves. I just don't think there's a higher calling, Jason. The work that you're doing with these young people is absolutely amazing. And for you to bring this to a place where you have a finished product, I'm just crying here, that you can share with the world. I know watching this film, when we watched it as a family, and I said to my husband, this will change so many young people's lives because they will have a context in which to understand their feelings. And if anybody is thinking that that autism and transgender have nothing to do with each other, you need to wake up. You just need to wake up, because just like in the rest of the population, there are individuals in our community who are dealing with the feelings that we as a society have put on them and telling them that they are not perfect the way that they are. And we need to, as the autism community, we need to get on board and embrace this. And I think that this film is a great entree to that. I'm so proud of you guys. I could just weep. Both of you.
Well, I mean, what you said really is exactly why Aloni and her parents, who are phenomenally loving and supportive and the best parents ever, Linda and Len, they really championed behind. It wouldn't have got done without their help. And Linda, Alani's mom, was always saying exactly what you said, which we need to start the conversation earlier at a younger age. And that's why Aloni and I decided to go with a PG version of the film. So these conversations can happen. You can see a boy wearing a dress and it's not weird, or see another boy kiss a boy on the cheek, and that's not a crazy weird thing. And to start telling these stories and make them more accessible to everyone, and it's not a taboo subject anymore. And so if children who are struggling even with expressing themselves through autism or whatever it may be, the sexual identity is sometimes they can't even comprehend it. So maybe seeing a film like this, they might go, oh, I like that too, or something where it might be able to start. And that was Alani's parents were very much about getting, like, wouldn't you say, Aloni? I mean, that was kind of a big reason we started this film, was your parents wanting to reach an audience to talk about this, right?
Yeah, and I do have an interesting story I was remembering when she said inspired the film. When I was at, what's it called? Going to Club Med with my parents, I kept telling them, oh, I'm a girl, but it didn't really register. I mean, I knew. I didn't like register that they thought, oh, it was probably just a phase, but I mean, I knew, but it was kind of, I was like, I mean, they were supportive, which is good.
Yeah.
But,
And one thing I just want to bring up, just because it's in my head, and if I don't say it,
no worries,
it fits in with what we're saying, is when Aloni came to me to write this story, it was about an autistic gay individual. Right. And that's what Aloni was saying earlier. And through the process of writing the movie, Aloni started transitioning to, Aloni was Steven when we started writing the movie. So it was very recent. So through the writing, I think Aloni got the courage, and I don't want to speak for you, but you can, come out to our Spec Lab community as transgender. And the fascinating thing that's blowing my mind right now is we hired one of our staff members, who at the time was Jack, which I was like, I almost forgot, because now I'm so used to calling her Liv. She transitioned during the process of the film. And now, I don't know if you know this, Aloni, but the other character who's in the dance with you, we hired as Wyatt, and is now going by Winnie. So the three people who are in this big dance number, all are transgender now, and two of them weren't out as transgender when we were filming the movie. And all three of you are now, coming out in the community and saying that you're all, transgender. And so I don't know. I think the movie obviously has had some kind of influence upon that. And so it's to me, it's very heartwarming. And for me and Aloni, I don't know if you want to say anything about that, but I think that our whole motto is let your voice be heard, let us be heard. So once you actually let it out, once you actually come out and you feel comfortable to be your true self. And so that's why it's important to do art, to create, to do these things, because that gives your voice, lets your voice be heard. And I think, Aloni, you've changed dramatically since we started writing this to who you are now, and it's beautiful to see.
It is beautiful to see. And can I tell you that I think that one of my favorite parts of the film is the relationship that the main character has with their good friend played by Spencer Hart.
Right.
I feel like the way that character is written and the way that Spencer portrays it is about, it's teaching the world about what love is and what acceptance is and how to be a friend. I think that that's one of the most powerful things, because I think a lot of people will watch the movie and go, okay, I need to open my eyes to acceptance and understanding more than I did before, but I don't know that they'll necessarily know how to. But Spencer's character gives us a roadmap. And it's from the most beautiful place of no artifice, and where you go, wow.
Pure innocence.
Yeah, pure innocence. And you go, if she can do that, I need to step up and I need to be more like that character and be pure love. So I just think that's as powerful as all the other messages in the film. So we're running out of time here because we have other guests today.
That was Alani's, Aloni wanted Spencer from the beginning, right? Yeah.
And I will tell you this before we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
The interesting thing was that I actually was adopted at 10 months old. Yeah. And we thought, I was like, my dad, Jason, said, oh, we should have a cis mother. And I was like, we can go either way because I was adopted. So it wouldn't really matter.
We got Alexandra Billings to play the stepmom, which was huge, which is another, from Transparent and she does Wicked on, and that was a huge, amazing thing for us to actually have Alexandra Billings play the evil stepmom in it, which she's not really evil in this. Yeah, what I love is we did a little flip and a change on it to show.
Yeah.
And then Carol Kane, the autism mom side of things, which we wanted to represent that in the movie. Yeah.
And then you have Carol Kane narrating. Yeah. Come on.
Carol Kane narrating. That was thanks to Jill Hart and Spencer, who are friends with Carol and pulled those strings. And Carol was like thrilled to be involved. She loved it. And I actually went out to New York and met her and did the recording with her. And it was one of the best experiences of my life.
It's a beautiful film, you guys. And in all the components, it's absolutely beautiful. And again, before we have to go, we have to tell them, because you can be watching it right now. Sometimes I talk to you guys about films and you can't, it's like it's coming to a film festival and you have to be in Austin to go to it. Not right now. Now you could be watching this film today.
For free too. It's
for
free. It's on filmpride.org. All you have to do is sign in and register. I will say, if you're watching and you sign and register, you're going to have to wait a little bit. They send you a code to get into the festival. So sign into filmpride.org, register for the film, you'll get a code, and then once you get the code, you can log in and watch any of the movies.
Okay, there you go.
And then also just stay up to date on speclabs.org, our website. You can contact us if we just started our fall classes online, so anybody around the world can jump in. We have students from all over the world now jumping into our classes online. So if you're interested in joining the Spectrum Laboratory world, you can visit speclabs.org.
They do amazing things, you guys.
Just hang out and say hi. And Aloni, I see, yes.
Yes, Alani's got something you want to add, yes.
They'll see this dress in the movie if they haven't, just so they know.
Wonderful. I wondered if that was, because I can't see it very well back there, but I wondered
if the Cinderella dress, yeah.
And it's beautiful. And I just want to say to folks, if you are looking for something in the fall, we've been talking about distance learning and how we want to make the rest of our kiddos' lives more reinforcing. What's the youngest age you take, Jason, for Spec Labs?
Our youngest student was 8.
Okay, so 8 and up, if a lot of times you guys write and go, I don't know what my child's passion is. I don't know what they want to do. Have them take a Spec Labs class and let them see for themselves.
No matter what age you are, I mean, we have a 36-year-old right now, so really it's,
there you
anybody
go.
who's interested in the arts, really.
Exactly. And I've seen, you've had people who join a band and I've seen people who become rappers out of your program. I've seen people who become animators come out of your program.
Yeah, we
and
do a lot of
screenwriters.
film, music, and animation. Yeah.
So, and they become a part of an artist group that they'll find friends. So if you're worried about that social piece, I highly recommend Spec Labs. I think that you're both amazing. And Aloni, I just want to say to you, what a beautiful, beautiful story you have. And what a beautiful, beautiful film you did with Jason. I think it's already changed lives and it's going to change many more. So congratulations. I adore you both.
Oh,
and check this. I'm sorry?
Go be who you are, and it'll take time to come out. Whenever you guys all feel comfortable. If you don't, you don't.
There you go. Thank you so much for that message, because there's people who need to hear that. Jason, thank you for making a space for these young artists and nurturing them. It's important work you do. I don't tell you that enough, but it's super important. Adore you. Okay, now I'm all emotional. But thank you guys. I got to make room for Matt and Navah. Love you both. Bye-bye.
Okay, cool. Say hi to Matt and Navah.
I will. Thanks, guys. And I apologize. We're 2 minutes late because I stopped to cry. We're welcoming now to the show Matt Asner and Navah Paskowitz-Asner from the Ed Asner Family Center, and they're here. So I'm wiping away the tears. They're here with us today to talk about the Ed Asner Poker Tournament, which is happening this Saturday night. And I want to get all the skinny on how we are going to get to watch it from home. The list of stars that they have at this event. There they are. Look at you guys. You look so cute. Hi.
Hi.
Jason Weissbrod said to say hi. He was
I love
we
those
say
guys.
hi to Jason Weissbrod and go.
There we go. And Aloni was here too. Aloni Shorin was here. So you guys, I was just saying to them that you've got your big poker tournament on Saturday. Tell us, we want to know all the 411.
Well, it's been a ride.
I'll bet.
We've done this live for the last, this is the 8th. This is number 8. And every year it's been live. It's been in LA. You've been there every time, I think.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. And so this year we were kind of hit in the face by the pandemic like everyone else. And we had to decide what we wanted to do. So we went down the road and said, hey, let's do this online. So we started kind of working on it. Seems like we've been working on it a long time. And
24/7, this thing.
And so here we are, not coasting, but kind of just getting into Saturday, which is Saturday night, 5 o'clock, starts at 5 o'clock with a virtual red carpet.
5 o'clock, okay.
Hosted by Social Director Chelsea Darnell.
That's right.
Love it. I love Chelsea.
Really,
wonderful.
thanks for calling. She's amazing at this.
She is amazing.
Really.
I will say, we have no idea how this is going to go. It could be, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go. It's
the wild west.
It's the Wild West. I like using analogies, and it's like a roller coaster. It's like the Wild West. It's like, it's like you just don't know what's going to happen.
The Outer Limits.
It's like like the Twilight Zone, actually.
But you know what? Can I just say that's exciting to me? I was raised in live theater, and that's the fun thing about live theater. You never know what's going to happen. It's the reason why Saturday Night Live has been on as many years as it has, because anything can happen.
And
so I think it's cool.
The X factor is there. So
yes.
So basically, let me explain what's going to happen.
Now my nose is happening.
No, I'm so sorry because I was weeping.
I forgot tissues.
I did too.
My allergies.
So we have,
But you know what?
Yeah.
The positive is, because Shannon's been to the poker tournament every
Yeah.
year. The positive is because the stars literally can do this in their pajamas.
yes.
We
Yes.
have tenfold the amount of
Oh,
stars we've ever had.
Your list is crazy,
Yeah.
you guys.
Well,
Yeah.
it's also, it's just, I'm so thankful to everyone who's joining us, and that's the stars and everyone who bought everyone who registered for a ticket.
Yes. Carefully,
You know,
carefully.
I'm just really thankful. And
Yes.
the interesting thing about this is it's going to be two things. It's not just one thing. It's two things. So,
No, I'm still here.
okay.
I just wanted to see more of you, so I took my
okay.
camera out, but I'm still
Okay,
here.
I got scared. You froze there.
No,
and I
no,
got-
no.
Okay.
No, I'm still here. I just wanted to see, because there's two of you, I wanted to see more of you.
Okay.
So tell us what the two things are.
So we're going to have, for anyone playing poker, they're going to have a, typical game surface that they're playing on. So we're going to send them a login. They're going to log into poker, and they're going to have a gameplay. It's almost like a video game. They're going to be playing poker, and they'll be playing with all these celebrities. They'll be, it's a virtual table, so they'll be playing with celebrities, and they'll be playing with other people. And then concurrently, on another link, there will be a broadcast that we will be going live out through Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and maybe one or two other things, and we'll be going live. So there'll be a live broadcast, which will kind of encompass everything that's going on. We'll have interviews with the celebrities. We'll have all sorts of things going on.
We're
Way
trying to pretend that we are going to do something like the Disney sing-along did, where you see Ed in person in the center.
Yeah.
And then it flashes to, God willing, let's say Jack Black, and then it'll flash to somebody else, a player.
Well, and also we have for halftime, we have a wonderful musical performance by Lyle Lovett. So
I can't even.
I like that.
Yeah.
Halftime.
Halftime, yeah, the halftime show. So for us at home, are you sold out? Can they still buy a ticket to play poker, or is that sold out?
I believe there are a few tickets left. I think we're pretty close to being sold out. I'm not 1,000% sure.
But
everyone can watch if they want, isn't that
correct? Yeah. But I want to talk about, there's two different levels. If you wanted to, you could it sounds like for a couple of lucky people, you still could play poker with the celebrities.
Yeah.
So you in a private room with people like Tom Hanks. Yes, a private virtual room. Everybody's home safe, COVID distancing, but it's you and how many people at a table? Like 10?
Most likely 10.
10 people at a table. So you and there will be celebrities in every one of those rooms. The list, let's talk for a second about the list of celebrities.
I
almost passed out when I saw Tom Hanks, because that's like, the A-list of the A-list is Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Rosie O'Donnell is back.
Yeah.
Randy Rainbow is back.
Randy Rainbow, Ben Affleck, Jack Black, Nick Offerman,
Clancy Brown, Maureen McCormick,
Danny Bonaducci. We're going to have a Brady Bunch, Partridge Family,
Anna Paquin,
her husband Stephen Moyer, Richard Kind.
Love Richard Kind.
Richard
Schiff.
Yeah.
The
list is endless, you guys.
It really is crazy, and I'm sorry if we forgot you, but it's like I said, these guys are doing it in their pajamas this year.
It's crazy how good it is. So you could play poker, but we can all watch.
You can all watch.
There's a cost to play poker. If you want that last ticket, what a great gift to give someone, the person in your life that, loves that kind of thing. Give them a seat at the poker table, and you'll be making a donation to the Ed Asner Family Center. But for those of us who are not going to play poker and are going to watch, what do we have to do that? And is there a cost to just watch?
It's completely free. And we will be streaming this over our Facebook channel. So actually, if you go to our Facebook page now, it's at Asner Family Center. If you go to our Facebook page now, you can get the link and just kind of remind yourself that it's going to happen. So our Facebook page, our YouTube page.
Okay.
My dad's Twitter account will be showing it live.
Okay.
And we might be cross-posting on different
Celebrity.
Facebook,
Lovely.
Or you could go
accounts.
to
We wanna-
pokerwithed.com
Yeah,
as well.
and then we have all the links there. But we want to go as wide with this as possible. It is really the wild. It is the Wild West, and I don't think anyone's done this before in terms of this kind of event. And I guess it goes in line with the kind of events that I've done in the past, which I'm proud of.
Yeah.
And I think we are doing something new. We're doing something kind of exciting and interesting, and I think people are going to have fun with it.
Something to look forward to. I mean, these days there's very little things that you can do as a community and be entertained.
Yes.
And it's going to be a really entertaining night. I think that's the most important thing.
It is. And I see some people we forgot on our list already.
Yeah, exactly. Jamie Lee Curtis,
Dylan McDermott,
Holly Robinson Pete.
What
is this?
Matthew Modine, Dylan McDermott.
I kind of have the hots for him. Who's that?
Who are you having the hots for?
Dylan McDermott.
Oh, Don Cheadle.
Oh, yeah.
Don Cheadle.
Yes.
So,
it's the only thing I'm going to say about this, I have a feeling that as much as we love doing the in-person poker, and I think that when things are safe, you're going to go back to the in-person poker. But I think that the networks are crazy stupid for not having picked this up, some network, because this is better. I'm looking more forward to this on Saturday night than anything the networks have put out in the last few months.
Yay.
Well, that's great.
We hope we don't disappoint you.
I hope.
No, you won't.
God willing.
And I gotta say, we have a guy directing the show who's, I think he's runs a tight ship, but he's gonna do a great job. We're Dwight Kennedy. He's gonna do a great job.
He's also an autism parent.
Yeah.
So he had a part in it, and he's been working 24/7 getting this thing.
We have a lot of autism parents like in big jobs here, because Dwight's a board member and he's also the director. We have Sherry Warner, who's a mom of
doing all
a
our
young
PR.
woman on the spectrum.
Shelby is
Landucci.
our community outreach and administration person, has a daughter with autism, and
so it's
amazing, you guys.
But I think the most important thing is, Shannon, is that this pandemic has put everything just dead stop, and our goal is to continue being able to provide online content for free, to have the scholarships. The last camp we did, we still had this enormous amount of scholarships that we had to provide, and our income has dropped so dramatically that if we didn't have events like this, that would be the end. I mean, we have to make people understand that in order to continue doing the things we want to do for people, I mean, we're just next month, we're going to start seeing in-person counseling, because people, especially our guys, our autistic friends, they can't always respond to Zoom therapy. It doesn't work for them. They're too distracted by their own face. So we have these incredible therapists that have joined the team that are going to see in-person counseling starting next month at we have that incredible family therapy room that you've been in many times. So literally 2 people in a 50-foot room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Absolutely.
That's the way to do it. And we're able to do that only because of events like this.
Well, I got to say, I've known you guys for a while, and I knew about this dream that you wanted to see to fruition. And I've said before, I'm so proud of you that you brought this dream into being so that it was this physical place. And amazing things have happened there in the time that you guys have opened. And I can tell you that for those of us in the Los Angeles area, it has been a beacon of hope. We talk all the time about one of the last social things we did before the shutdown was the Valentine's Day party, and it will be something that my family will remember forever. It was so much fun. I honestly, when things get bad and I'm like, I remember that we had fun doing that and we'll be doing that again. But I will say, as much as I have not enjoyed this COVID thing, I have enjoyed how people like you have picked up the mantle and said, okay, what can we do now? Mm-hmm. And you have been offering free online classes every day of the week to anyone. Yeah. And we've talked about that. And, for people who didn't have, I've had so many people come to me and say, I need something and I can't afford X, Y, and Z. And I've said, go, take a class. You can do it any day at the Ed Asner Center. And that there's a cost to that, everybody. These people have been supporting us for the last few years, in the last 6 months, totally for free. And there's a cost. Now, you may not be able to write a big check, but you can tell people about this tournament on Saturday. You can tune in and participate. You can donate as little as $5, which if everyone that watches the poker tournament contributes $5, then these folks will be able to continue what they're doing. But exactly. I also understand that there are like auction items.
That we and there's an online store.
Thank you very much. There's so much here that it's difficult to get to it all. There's an online store that they can buy like merchandise that that has to do with tournament. And then there's also we also have a huge silent auction that has some amazing things in there. And
amazing things.
One of the things we're doing this year that I think is kind of crazy and wild is we have a jersey. We have an official jersey for the Ed Asner and Friends Poker Tournament. And each celebrity that is taking part in this event is signing their jersey, even some that aren't, because Harrison Ford's not taking part in the event and he's signing a jersey.
Wow.
But we have a couple of people that aren't, like Mia Farrow. Mia Farrow is signing a jersey, not playing. But Lucy Lawless is another one. And we have so they'll sign the jersey, it'll have their name on the back, and it'll say like Lawless, and they'll sign it, and then that's up for auction. And we have like a wonderful pair of Up shoes that Gary Bilodeau, the artist Gary Bilodeau, has signed.
Love Gary.
Yeah. We have a trip. We have some Broadway Zooms, like with cast members from like Moulin Rouge and Evan Hansen and a couple of other ones. We have a Napa wine tasting where they'll actually send you the wine and you have a virtual tour of the winery, and it's just this, and it's great wine.
We have a bunch of Up paraphernalia that Ed signed.
Awesome. I see that plush bed is back.
Oh yeah.
I almost bid on the plush bed last year, and I'm so sorry that I didn't. I might have to bid on the plush bed this year. Is there one?
Shannon, it will change your life.
I know.
Especially for chronic pain sufferers.
No.
This bed will change your life.
I know.
We sleep on a
plush, I'm not kidding.
On a plush bed.
It's
and
like,
it has changed our life.
But it's like being in a nest of absolute perfection.
Yep.
I mean, it's not too soft, it's not too hard. It conforms to your body, and it actually doesn't overheat. Like I had a Tempur-Pedic, and you would be swelteringly hot.
And it's all organic.
All organic, 100% organic.
And they also, I think we also
do CBD pillows.
So we also have a CBD pillow.
Oh, do we have that in the auction? That's awesome.
So and I have trouble sleeping at night.
Yeah, he likes the CBD.
The CBD pillow really helps me.
But the main thing is, you don't have to be a poker player. You don't have to, I mean, I certainly don't play poker, but it's such a fun, entertaining night. And there's something for everyone. It's not just like a bunch of guys in a smoke-filled room for 2 hours straight. It's literally like an entertaining, it's really a concert part of it too, as well.
I think what we're trying to do is, you've been there. So anyone who's been there understands that it's fun and unpredictable and just crazy. And we want that aspect of that in this virtual world. So that's
and hopefully Randy Rainbow will be zany again, because he was awesome at the only drawback of that night was we had to go in that friggin' elevator that I still get.
Yeah, that elevator was
that
not
elevator.
That elevator was not good. I wasn't buying the elevator either, Navah.
So
But I gotta say, last year I really loved it when it was,
that was
in the back lot in this where they had filmed Lou Grant, and but I will say to people, I love the red carpet, because the red carpet is super fun, where you get to hear what the celebrities say, and that's all really fun. But I think the most fun, which is what people are going to get to see that I don't think the public got to see before, what I always had a view of, I never was sitting at a poker table. And generally, they don't allow you to take pictures and film while they're playing poker, because somebody could get behind somebody and show pictures and stuff. That's going to be eliminated. And what's fun is the little conversations that have at the table, the little conversations that happen when they're on a break. And the little conversations by the food. The whole thing with Gary Busey last year, which just about put me on the floor, because Gary Busey thought I was a waitress and kept having me get him a Sprite.
That's funny.
And, and the conversations about that around Busey, those are the fun things that when I come home, everybody's like, so what happened? Behind the scenes. Well, that's really what everybody's going to get to see this time.
And you miss it. You miss it doing your red carpet. There's so much going on. I never see that too. We're gonna get a whole new angle to the fun.
I think people are absolutely gonna love it.
I'm thinking of names that we haven't mentioned yet. Stephen
Yeah,
Webb.
no, and I was trying to bring it up on my phone, but then I got so into what you guys were saying, but I did have some lists.
How about my cousin Mason Reese? He used to be a very famous child star, and now he's gonna play.
Mason Reese is playing.
Remember, he used to do the Devilwood
Underwood Hams.
Was he the little red-headed boy?
Yes, that's my cousin.
He's the one who cried on the Merv Griffin show when they played Cats in the Cradle.
He used to be on Mike Douglas show. Like, he was his regular. I think that's what not Merv Griffin, but Harry Chapin was going to be on. It's a famous thing. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he sobbed, like his little heart was broken. I've always wanted to meet him and hug him. Would you hug your cousin for me?
He lives in New York, so this is his opportunity. The first time that he can actually be in the tournament. He's very stoked, and I'm so his mom, who was my last surviving connection to my dad, just passed. So I'm so happy that he has a little joy in his life.
I'm so sorry. And I saw that. I did want to tell you, so people that we haven't mentioned, Kim Cattrall. Oh, yeah. You said Anna Paquin, Rosanna Arquette, Howie Mandel. We haven't said Howie Mandel, Darius Rucker, Rob Schneider. I mean, the list goes on, you guys. Go on their website.
Brad
Garrett. You never know what he's going to say.
Oh my, he's a live wire, right?
Especially with all the mishugas in the politics right now. You never know what that dude's going to say.
Could be interesting. Interesting.
Well, people are saying online that they can't wait, that they're so excited for this event. We're really, really excited about it. So again, because I've noticed on the, whenever I see the PR for it, it shows the little Facebook sign. There's nothing for us to click. So
there's now a link that they can go to and click.
Okay.
Go to our Facebook page. It'll say live event coming up, and it'll
okay.
And
so
you can
do we need to register beforehand, or we just show up?
No, if you
only if you want to play.
Only if you want to play.
Okay.
Anyone?
Now, how much is it to play? What is it?
A suggested donation of $250.
Suggested donation
of $250.
Okay. Well, if you're going to play poker with celebrities, you need to pay $250. Yeah. But I want to point out that you don't have to play to be hanging out with the celebrities. And
but Shannon, if they go to www.pokerwithed.com,
it's all there.
They can get the information of the online store, the auction. It's just easier to go to the page, and then honestly, they can see who's playing. It's just a clear like page.
www.pokerwithed.com.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so do that. And then is that the same place where we will bid on auction items?
There'll be a link there for that.
Yes.
And then we haven't mentioned this. The host for this show is Nick Ebert. Remember him?
My goodness, that's exciting.
Autism America. He was my
That's very exciting.
Well, he's known him since he was like 5 years old.
I've known him since I was 14, and
I exaggerated a
You
little
exaggerated a little bit. He's done hundreds of poker broadcasts. He's actually, that's how he made a living for a long time. And joining him will be Maria Ho, who is a poker pro.
professional.
Wonderful.
And it's going to be great. It's going to be a great night.
But you'll also have Chelsea Darnell to do the celebrity side of it. And Chelsea, we've had Chelsea on the show. I just adore her. I just think that she is the most amazing thing. And she does such a great job on the red carpet. So that'll be really thrilling. And I love that you guys are walking your talk all over the place. You know what I mean? That's a really important thing. And I appreciate and applaud that.
And
so
Shannon,
incredible.
see that we just after camp was over, we literally I literally took like one breath, and then we went into retrofitting the majority of the center.
I saw the pictures.
COVID plexiglass, so we can reopen safely small in-person classes next month. And we can talk about that later. But after the response of the camp, the parents were like, you cannot go back to just virtual. You have to give us something. So we're continuing with the two directors, music therapists, Judy Langdon and Aviva. And they're going to be, we're going to start with just 2 days a week, one weekday class and one weekend class.
Okay.
In person, first come, first serve, because we can only safely have, a certain amount of people in these rooms. So they're completely plexiglass, COVID safe. All the instructors are going to be wearing masks. The kids have to wear masks. It's very, very safe. We had a very successful camp doing it that way.
Yeah.
Everyone, all the instructors and the staff have been tested. The kids, the problem is it's first come, first serve. We can only house a certain amount of people. So as soon as we have our date, I'll tell you about it, and we can talk more about that.
But people, if they're interested in that, they should be reaching out to you guys right now saying, I want to do
I would
that.
Absolutely say, if you're interested in our in-person classes, most likely it'll start on September 21st, the first Monday of the week in September. And just write to navah@edasnerfamilycenter.org, and I can give you the full scoop.
And just so people know, we will be continuing the virtual classes too.
Absolutely.
That was going to be my next question, because I love that there are people who need in person, and they need it all over the world. But here in Los Angeles, there are people who do that. But I think that your online stuff has been a huge help to people all over the world.
And we're going to mix it up a little bit and have new online shows. We have people from all over the world really who are watching these things. We're not going to give up on them. And Chelsea has created this incredible social group. Yeah. So she is completely full steam ahead to continue that. And, we want to reintroduce I need your help with this. I want to reintroduce having our moms and dads support group continue.
Yes. I've been meaning to talk to you about that. I really think that would be
there's no reason for us not to.
Yeah. And I mean, we can even do that online. That would be awesome. I do want to address, people have said the Ed Asner Family Center has been a huge support to the community and has really stepped it up during COVID, which I completely agree. Somebody said, love Rob Schneider. Like who doesn't? The man is so funny. He kills me. If you haven't seen 50 States, I think it's the quintessential Rob Schneider film.
Did you see the other day, there's some female wrestler that looks exactly like Rob Schneider?
No.
He was trending on Twitter the other day, and it was literally like they're doppelgangers. It's the craziest thing.
That is, I'd like to see that. That sounds interesting to me. But so if you're going to reach out and because you're in Los Angeles and you want to know and reserve a spot in those in-person classes, so it's Navah. But Navah is Navah. Don't forget the H at Ed Asner. Is it the Ed Asner Center or Ed Asner Center? Ed Asner Center. Okay, if you want to be, because I have been recommending to every parent of every adult that has an adult child, Chelsea's Saturday night movie.
Yes, it's amazing.
Every
Saturday at 7:00, and you can
7:00 Pacific time.
7:00 Pacific time, You have to register in advance because we've had some weirdo bombing. So you have to get the specialized link from Shelby at edasnerfamilycenter.org.
And that is a social group, you guys.
Yes.
You guys announced the film earlier in the week that they're to watch on their own. Then they come to the group on Saturday night to discuss the film. And from what I hear, the film is just a jumping off point for
Exactly.
So it starts the conversation.
100%.
I love it.
It's become a social group. It's become a support group.
I think
It's become a group where the kids are connecting. And actually, I'm going to bring in Aviva's new campaign, which is kind of a militant liberal, my girl. I don't know where she gets it from. Probably Matt.
I can imagine.
And not from me. But she has decided she and the special needs community are going to save the post office.
Okay.
She is connected with these different organizations and schools in the different parts of the nation. And our community is going to reach out to these other communities. A lot of them are special needs communities. A lot of them are typical schools. And a lot of these schools are in person, by the way. And they're going to exchange addresses and they're going to start a pen pal group. So they're going to be, motivated to go to the post office, buy stamps, create these pen pals. But Aviva and her team are doing it very safely. They vet the addresses first. They make sure that these are real people. It's not, something that kids could get in trouble with.
Yeah.
Their parents involved. But the main thing is it's, in these times, imagine how James would feel if he would start getting letters in the mail.
It's interesting you should bring that up because we've been home all summer and he didn't get to come and, he is missed being there.
Yeah, it's not the same. He's my right-hand man. I always keep
He loves you guys.
And I was short by James.
Well, he loves you guys and he loves working there and he missed having his summer job. But we had other things, it was brought up to me that a lot of our kids on the spectrum and not on the spectrum don't know how to address an envelope because it's like a dying art.
Yeah.
And that was something that was on our list to do this summer was that he had to write some letters and address them and mail them because our kids need to know how to do that. They need to know where the stamp goes. They're so used to emailing. They even pay bills online. So, it's an art that we need to make sure that we're teaching our kids. So he actually wrote a couple of letters and got a couple of letters back. And he was like, well, this is sort of quaint, I think was the word that he used.
Well,
quaint.
I'm definitely going to have Aviva reach out to James. That's for sure.
There you go.
But I think, like you say, there's a first step where maybe during her instructional weekly class, she actually does, because she was going to teach kids to make their own envelopes, to make kind of like an art project that they can send to their pen pal. So each week her art project is going to be connected to the campaign, the Save the Post Office campaign. And so maybe the first step should be, let's figure out, friends, how do we address an envelope? So that we got to start with A.
Yeah, it's got to happen. So Shelby wants us to make sure that we note that this week only, because of the poker tournament, that the movie night will be on Friday night at 7 p.m.
Good.
So
and the movie,
she says here that the movie this week is Despicable Me. So is that 1 and 2?
No. He's talking. Last week they did a Steve Jobs.
That was last week?
Yeah. Oh. Steve Jobs and the social network.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Well, this week it's Despicable Me. It's on Friday only this week because of the poker tournament. So your adult kiddos can go to the movie chat with Chelsea on Friday night, and then everybody can go to the poker tournament on Saturday. Yes. The red carpet starts on Saturday at 5 o'clock with Chelsea. And then what time does poker play start?
6 sharp.
6 sharp. Okay. So I'm so looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to the online auction too. But I really want to remind everybody that we all have a responsibility. You know how sometimes you go, oh, I'll do that later. I really like that. And then you turn around and it's gone. And you go, what happened? Why did that go away? And it's because we didn't all support it enough. That cannot be the story for the Ed Asner Family Center. They have been of service, and we need to make sure that we give them enough of a donation from this event, because you're not able to do all the events that you normally do.
No, I can't stress that enough. That's true. And you know, we everyone's in jeopardy right now.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone. I mean, you know, we won't be here if we're not supported, and that's the truth.
That's right.
That's
right. And it's everybody. Everybody has to support. So if you are listening and watching this, you can do something. It could be that you just share information on your Facebook page so that other people can support it, and that's fine. That's a great way to support. But if you have $5, go through the couch cushions. If you have $5, donate $5, or look at what's available on the online auction and see if there's something that you were about to buy anyway. And
yeah, exactly.
Sometimes you get a great
birthday
deal.
present coming up.
I will say this: anyone who joins in to the poker tournament is entered into you know, a drawing. So, and they'll be given out all evening. So it'll be nice ones. So it'll be fun for everyone.
Well, I think it's going to be great, whatever it is. And I'm sure that there will be some kerfuffles, and that should just add to our enjoyment.
This guy hasn't slept in 10 days. Don't tell him more kerfuffles.
Oh.
No, that will be the enjoyment of it. That will be what's quaint. You know, I mean,
I agree. If as long as we get on the air and we stay on the air, I'll be okay.
You'll get on the air.
The person that you suggested for our mascot,
Your doggy, yeah.
She's gonna help us, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to you, and that's gonna be our next Brady Bunch of Autism craziness, is that we're bringing in this
Oh.
crazy a therapy dog to the center, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Kids are freaking out.
You know, I have nothing but ideas. It doesn't mean I can ever get anything done, but I have nothing but ideas.
Gotta call Shannon.
But can I tell you that I think that you should document the entire thing? I think it's
an
award-winning short film of the dog
screaming at me like, I knew the dog was gonna poop everywhere.
Yeah, and just seeing how the dog interacts. I would suggest that you like get somebody to document everything and get one of those cameras, what do they call them, that you can strap onto the harness of the dog, so we can see from the dog's point of view the center.
Yeah,
a GoPro. Yes, and you can get even less expensive than GoPro, but strap a GoPro to the dog at some point so that we can see
we have to do
them interacting with the children, the kids.
I have a name for the film.
Okay.
It's called Center Dog.
There we go.
Center Dog.
There we go. Yeah, because it'll be. I can see an award-winning film. There we go. I also think that next year, when we're out of COVID, one of the networks should pick up the poker tournament and do it, on the network.
From your mouth.
Yes, God willing.
On both counts. May we be out of COVID.
Be...
May we be out of COVID, and may we get picked up by a network. Yes.
Let's speak it into being. Let's speak it into being. Hey, I love you guys, and I am so deeply appreciative for everything.
Miss you.
I miss you. You have no idea.
Over there and drag you over to my pool.
Oh, I want to be in your pool so bad. You have no idea.
I have to.
That's not going to happen. Just like I'm never going to surf, Navah, and you're just going to have to.
Don't say that. I could get you surfing easily.
If she can get me up on a board, she can get
now
you
you really challenge.
No, I've thrown the gauntlet.
The gauntlet.
But we will see. I want to propose that you do a social distance party in the parking lot of the Ed Asner Center.
Well, I was going to say that, and maybe I'll just say it, is that Eddie's favorite holiday of the whole year is Halloween, and Halloween canceled this year.
Yeah.
So we're going to create a safe Halloween party in the parking lot where parents can even just drive up and will very safely socially distance, give people tricks and treats that are you know, safely, separately wrapped.
That's awesome.
And
And
but the most important thing is that the friends can see the friends, everyone's
Yeah.
dressed up, you have a reason to go somewhere dressed up. And I feel like we got to give our kids something for Halloween. They can't go door to door. And what can we do for them? And so we're all working on that as a team, and we'll have more information to follow.
And the Witch of the Center needs.
Oh, yeah, you have to
needs
bring back the Witch of the
place
Center.
to go in Halloween.
She has to come back. She has to come back. Okay, I have an idea for that. We'll talk
Yeah,
separately.
let's talk about that.
It's 11 o'clock, but I adore you guys. I can't wait to
Love
see the
you.
poker
Give
tournament.
our
I
love
can't
to
wait.
Jim and James.
And give my love to your entire tribe,
Okay.
and which includes everybody at the center, because that's part of your tribe too. But love all of you, miss all of you, and I hope you make a grunch of money. Quote me, a grunch of money, because I know that that's what's needed to keep you guys like doing the things that you're doing. So
Yes.
we all, everybody within the sound of my voice, we all have to participate in whatever way we can.
Thank you, Shannon.
And no, thank you. And I'll be interested to talk with you afterwards, because I'm sure that there will be lots of fun things. So adore you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you, Travis.
So www.pokerwithed.com.
Yes.
Okay, pokerwithed.com.
Yes.
Go there, learn all about it, bid on stuff. You'll be bidding against me. Let's run up the bill. Let's make it happen.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, you guys. Love you so much.
Have a good
We'll
day.
see you too.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Guys.
All right, bye-bye. And to all the viewers, thank you so much for being here with us on this weird journey that we're on. We're going to be back tomorrow live. We might have to do a little pre-show again so that we have a spot on the internet. But we'll be back with Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh answering your questions. Send in your questions right now or tomorrow, whenever suits you. Love to all of you. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.
The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism. Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh.
Dr. Doreen Granpeesheh is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen.
The first question, I'm going to go right to Nadia, because last week we got into a conversation about diet and biomedical and all of that stuff. And Nadia says, what's the best treatment for recurrent yeast in a 2-year-old? That's a whole episode.
The whole really
Yeah.
is. So, there's a lot that I could say about recurrent yeast. And it was actually one of the first things that I experienced before I was paying attention to biomedical issues. So back in the 90s, I guess, one of my patients, a little girl, had developed yeast on fungus on her nails. And so we got her pediatrician to treat the fungus on her nails. And he actually treated it topically. And believe it or not, it changed her behavior. So that was kind of very shocking to me. And so then I met with the pediatrician, and that pediatrician was Michael Goldberg, if you remember back in those days. And so I started talking to him about autism, and he started to also pay attention and started doing a lot of other things as well. And sorry, Shannon, if you hear barking, it's because I think the coyotes are back. And
Oh,
my
no.
dog.
Let us know if you need to do something to keep everybody safe.
We'll see. I see Blaze outside, so I think we're okay.
Okay.
So basically, long story short, after that we started paying attention and realized that our kids have underlying medical issues that are affecting their behavior. Yeast or Clostridia being one of them. And it's important to note that when you have Clostridia or yeast, it does actually can actually cross the blood-brain barrier and affect how the brain functions. So it becomes really, really important to not just obviously because of that, but also because yeast can cause a lot of mischief in the gastrointestinal system, and there's a lot of issues that come about from having high levels of yeast. So there are different ways to treat it. Some people do very well with diets that will reduce the growth of yeast. If you think about yeast as, I like to just anything, like you think about bread, for instance, and you leave bread outside, it will mold, right? Pretty quickly. So there are certain foods that are the yeast likes to grow on, like sugary foods and gluten type products and so on. And so diets are very effective. The second thing is there are medications, prescription medications that are very effective, and a lot of people are taking antifungal medications like nystatin, for instance, or diflucan. There's a lot of them, and they are extremely effective. Sometimes you have to repeatedly take these medications, and yeast can overgrow again if you're not on the appropriate diet. And then there's also less, like over-the-counter type medications that are pretty helpful from what I've heard from parents as well. So there's a combination of things. I would really recommend that you consult with a physician, and I would probably suggest that you speak to kind of a naturopath type physician first, maybe, and they might be able to help you, or a nutritionist. There are a lot of people. Julie Matthews has a lot of programs about this. I'm sure Taka has some advice on this issue, and I think that it would probably be best to start with a diet change and maybe some homeopathic type interventions. And if that doesn't work, then you will end up going to prescription medication.
Yeah. If you have a child who has yeast overgrowth, and if you want to know more about it, you can just Google Candida Overgrowth. I think a lot, when my child had this, and people were talking about yeast, and, and I was like, what are you talking, like a yeast infection? Like, this is something that women, have to deal with, in their lives. And I thought that's what they were talking about. And I was like, he doesn't have that equipment. What are you talking about? And, but it was a whole rabbit hole that we went down, and we made dietary changes that helped. But then we eventually did, under the care of a doctor, a yeast protocol with diflucan the first time and nystatin the second time. And I don't know what the difference between the two of them is, but I know we were, and there were other medications he had to take at the same time. Made a tremendous difference. But I always like to say to people, if you are going to start a yeast protocol, yeast is a living thing and it tries to survive, and you can never eradicate yeast. We all need a certain amount of yeast in our body and in the environment. But when you try to, knock it back so that it's not in overgrowth, it will try to survive, and you will get something called a yeast die-off. So it will get worse before it gets better. And I know when it happened to us, somebody didn't warn us, and I was like, this is not working. We need to stop this. Things have gotten exponentially worse. And they said, no, that's the die-off. That means it is working. Hang in. And I remember the morning that the die-off was over, and I thought something was wrong, because my child that we called Busy Pants, who was constantly in motion, never sat still, was sitting still and playing with Legos. And I woke up my husband. I walked out, and there he was sitting at the coffee table putting Legos together. And I went and I woke up my husband. I said, something's wrong. And he came out and he was like, what? And I said, he's just sitting there. He's not running around. He's not stimming. He was just sitting there doing his Legos. And it was just eerily quiet. There were no noises because he engaged in a lot of vocal stereotypy. There was a huge breakthrough that came with it, but I'm with Dr. Granpeesheh, a good doctor. The MAPS doctors are really good at this and know what they're doing. I don't think I would try this with a regular pediatrician. I don't think that they are specialized enough to guide you through what you'll go through. Do you disagree with any of that, Dr. Granpeesheh?
No. I mean, there are some pediatricians who have improved, but I agree with you, because if you, for a pediatrician, the likelihood is they might not know about this. So the first thing they'll say is, no, that's ridiculous. The second, if they know about it, then they will just go straight to prescription medication, which is fine. I mean, going to nystatin. Nystatin is very harmless. Nystatin is a very, very low grade antifungal medication that is given. You could give nystatin to a newborn. So it's very harmless. But once you start talking about like Nizoral and diflucan and stuff like this, then those are things that metabolize through the liver, and it would be important to keep an eye on the child every month and all that sort of stuff. So I'm not sure a pediatrician would have that level of knowledge. I do like the doctors who are much more kind of trained for autism, and so I think that's the way to go.
There we go. Next question. So I have a child who is 17. She has been treated by a pediatrician her whole life with not many major issues. She has high functioning Asperger's autism spectrum disorder. We live in Eastern Kentucky and not many specialized options. They have a psychiatrist who has recently placed her on Depakote, and she started to hear voices and is very anxious, which led to anxiety and panic attacks. Her whole life, she was on risperidone, which has caused a place on her breast. I guess my question is, who can I take her to now that she is 17 to help her with anxiety and help her to cope with life in general? I need a good doctor specialist in autism. Please help, and thank you so much.
Yeah, so if she's high functioning, both Depakote and Risperdal don't make sense. So I don't know why she's on either one of them, to be honest with you. We'll have to know more about that. But because it's very unusual to have a diagnosis of Asperger's or PDD-NOS, or like extremely high functioning individuals being on either one of those medications. So I really think maybe you want to start looking at the same thing we were saying before. Essentially, there are physicians who are very, very good at working with our kids, and that's because most of them have adult kids on the spectrum themselves, and they used to be called DAN doctors, but now they're MAPS doctors, and you can look on the MAPS website, and I don't know the exact URL. Do you?
I think it's MAPPS, but if you just Google Med Maps with one P, it'll come up.
Yeah.
And they list you can go by state and see. Make sure that you read, because they have some that are certified and some that aren't. Read about them, and each one of them has a different specialty. So maybe they came into being a MAPS doctor and they were a pediatrician, or maybe they were an osteopath, or maybe they were a chiropractor. They're not all equal and even, and so you have to look at what their specialty was when they came to MAPS and what kind of work they do now. But there are some amazing people in that directory.
Yeah, and I would also say that, as Shannon said, there's a lot of difference between them, and you might, if there are two that you can choose from, see both of them and see which one you like better and which one understands your preferences more, because it's a long-term relationship, and it should be someone who's willing to consult with you for many years to come.
I'm Googling now to see what it is, whether it's MedMaps or not. I will say this, that it's a little bit better than it used to be. A lot of these doctors, make sure that you're talking with them about what your insurance is and if they accept your insurance, because a lot of them, your insurance won't take them or they won't take your insurance. So make sure that you're above board with everything and say, will this be covered by my insurance? Don't just assume, because that would end up in a hefty bill, because it's not inexpensive, these doctors. But they know more, and they get together and meet at least once a year. I think it's twice a year that they get together and share research that they have found in their practices, which is like so amazing. It's like hive mind.
It is MedMaps, 1P, MEDMAPS.org.
There we go. Wonderful. Thank you. You're much faster on the Google than I am. You're just better at your phone than I am.
I use my phone 24/7.
Well, and that's not the only thing you're better at than me. So there we go. So there's a long list. That would take us more than today. Okay. Our dad, who we talked to last week in Ireland about his son who wanted to ride on his shoulders, wrote in with a follow-up. He said, my son takes my hand and demands to go out. It's adorable, but very challenging, like an extreme sport. My question is that my son is 4, but very strong, and he doesn't ever want to wait at traffic lights. He is strong-willed, and I have to lift him up so that he won't be crushed, in which case he is susceptible to scratching and biting my face, the face off me as I shoulder ride him home. I endure this and don't react. I am grateful to get him home. And I pray to God during this process that I manage to get him home. There has to be a way to train my child to wait at a traffic light and to stop telling me where we must go. But Dad is beginning to doubt that this is ever possible, and he's fearful about what could happen. So I'm sending a hug to this dad, and I think we can all relate to, at some moment in our lives, our kids were running the show, right? and whether it was this way or not, but when the kid is running the show and it's dangerous, I think it's extra hard on the parent. But what now, because now we know this traffic issue, what would you like to say, Dr. Granpeesheh?
Yeah, so, I hesitate, honestly, Shannon, to give a treatment plan, because what happens is either our kids are running the show or we enter this big phase of battle. And both are very stressful. Either you give in and you're doing everything your child wants, or you fight it and you start to actually be abused and so on. And so that's why I am cautious about telling you what to do, rather than first asking you, is there a board certified behavior analyst in your area who can take over and guide? Because it's not one thing or another. Like, for instance, I could tell you that you should hold him. You should actually practice not running at a red light, or and you should do all of this right now when he's 4 and is not 14, because when he's 14, you're not going to be able to control it anymore. And at 4, no matter how aggressive he gets, you can still hold him back. And this is the time to train him that he cannot run the show. But as I start to guide this dad, I worry, because, as you know, Shannon, when you start to intervene with one behavior, other behaviors will increase. That behavior will first increase. It's called an extinction burst. And I don't want to tell any parent, to do a certain number of things that I know are difficult, especially if they become more severe, which an extinction burst is a period of time where, you know, let's say you start holding him from eloping during a red light or something, and he will become more aggressive before it dies down. That is a given fact, and that's called an extinction burst. And from the child's perspective, that's basically saying, hey, you know, in the past I would get away with this. Now you're holding me back. I'm going to show you that I can still get away with this. So they're going to be stronger before they realize it's just not going to work. So I don't want to tell a parent who already sounds like they're kind of at their wit's end to do a certain number of things that are going to make things harder, because during that short phase when things are harder, if you give in, then things end up getting worse overall. Like the child learns that they need to do a massive tantrum, you know? So I would ask this dad first to try to see if they can find a BCBA to consult with locally, because it's gonna end up being 5 or 6 different behaviors that need to be changed, not just one. Like, you know, the eloping is one thing, but scratching your face is another thing. And like, there's a whole bunch of other things that you told us last week. So let us know if you have access to a BCBA who would be able to guide you. The other thing I could suggest is if you were to go online on our, I guess it would be on our skills website, which is skillsforautism.com. There's a section called CIFA, C-I-F-A, which stands for the Card Indirect Functional Assessment. And you should go in there and answer questions about these behaviors. Like it will very specifically, you'll say what the behavior is, and it'll ask you a bunch of questions about it. And then it'll guide you to what's called a behavior intervention plan, or BIP, because there's a section called the BIP builder. And that's valuable in the sense that it gives you all the different things you can do when this behavior occurs. That is helpful. The other thing you could do is train yourself a little bit better on all the techniques that help with challenging behavior. And that training you can find on the IBT website, Institute for Behavior Training. But all that said, it's just too complex, Shannon. And, you know, if it was an easy thing, I would guide you through it. But it really sounds to me like you need someone who has eyes on the situation and can guide you every step of the way.
Yeah. It's hard because I know, you know, this parent needs help. I mean, I think that that's just the easiest way to say it, is this parent needs help. And what I love about what you've done with your life, Dr. Granpeesheh, is that you worked really hard to give people choices about how they could get it, so that even if people were in remote areas where there wasn't a BCBA on the ground, that they could get help and support. And that you worked really hard. You know, there was a period of time when I came, you know, because my son was being treated at CARD, and then I came to be at CARD and work with all of you, because you were working at what I always thought of was a good, better, best model. And, you know, the best thing is to have your BCBA there, and to have somebody that's a team of people working with you. And the best of that is CARD, in my opinion. And that's based on me having gone through it and having seen 1,000 other parents go through ABA programs. And I think, you know, the progress that they made with my son is nothing short of miraculous. So that's like the best of the best. And if you don't have that working with, you know, even if you have to work with a BCBA, if you can get somebody to work with you remotely, but I love that Dr. Granpeesheh made sure that everybody had tools. And some of those tools are skills and the Institute for Behavioral Training, which she just mentioned. And everybody basically has access to that. Yes, there can be a cost associated with that, but it's very low cost. And every week, I don't know why I didn't get one this week, but every week they send me an update about what's going on this week with skills and IBT. So let me read you last week's, which I think still applies. They are offering during COVID free trainings every week. This week, they are offering parent school readiness skills from the IBT library. IBT stands for iBehavioral Training, ibehavioraltraining.com. It's the Institute for Behavioral Training, but it's ibehavioraltraining.com. They're offering those trainings free to parents. For the educator community, they're offering educator useful strategies. That's free at no charge, despite what it says on the thing, there's no charge. They're also offering to motivated parents, if you want to take the registered behavior technician training, you can take the training part of it, the online part of it, case by case. They will be offering scholarships to make that free for folks. And if you call them for any of these things and say that you were sent there by me, you can say Autism Live or the Shannon Friends and Family Program, whatever you choose. They will give you a 10% discount on all skills products right now. So the number to call for all of those things is 877-975-4559. Again, that's 877-975-4559. But you can also go on their website. You can go to skillsforautism.com or ibehavioraltraining.com, and you can message them, especially if you are out of country and you know, I don't know if they have WhatsApp. So that's my thing for everything now is WhatsApp. But message them, send them an email, and they will get back to you. And if for some reason that isn't working out for you, please email me directly and I will connect you with them. s.penrod@autism-live.com. s.penrod@autism-live.com.
Shannon, I think while the staff does all of this, you know, I'll try my best to try to guide through step by step, and you can keep writing back to us. Like, you know, what will happen if you actually stop your child from running running at a red light? What will happen if you stand there with him, holding him until he calms down?
And I don't know. Let's
try and do that and see what happens, because the bottom line is getting the message through to the child that it doesn't matter how long you tantrum. We're not walking until you're calm.
And I also want to say, because I've been able to read all the messages from him, which I haven't read all to you, but I can forward them to you, Dr. Granpeesheh, that one of the things it seems like to me is there is a ritual that they engage in right now where the son is like, his big reinforcer for the day is going for this walk and getting to lead dad around. And as far as this kiddo is concerned, that is the great fun and joy of his life. I don't think he has any awareness of the fact that it's like, and I can appreciate as a parent, like, it's torture for this dad. It is absolutely like the least favorite thing. It's scary, it's frightening, it's painful. He gets hurt or hit or bit or whatever. So it's the most reinforcing for the kiddo, the least, you know, it's the most punishing for the dad. And, you know, but part of me, and please help me, you know, with this, part of me is that, you know, it starts with the request to go for, it actually starts way before that, but it's this pattern. And there is a part of me that says, you know, doesn't that pattern need to be completely chopped back up into little things? I know when, you know, I talked about this last week with the A word, that the little boy who wanted to go outside, and they did the whole social story, took him outside, and the minute that he let go of mom's hand, they turned around and they came back in. Like, they didn't get to the street, to the corner. It was like, they told him, here's what the expectation is. They walked outside, it didn't happen, they came back inside, and he flipped. Yeah. But they didn't, but he learned, if I don't follow these rules, we don't go at all.
Exactly. I was going to say that the best way to deal with this, and you're right that it starts a lot earlier. It starts, I think, I never want to, I think our kids are just reacting so normally. I don't think there's anything about this that is unusual. The only reason they're aggressing is because they can't communicate otherwise. the reason the aggression increases is because, I hate to say it, but it's because we allow it to. If it was another child, we would probably yell at the child or say, hey, cut that out, or no, that's not okay, or whatever it is. And when our kids are diagnosed, we tend to just think, oh my gosh, like I can't reprimand my child even in any, I need to be so cautious because there's something very wrong here. And I don't know how to, and then we put on gloves, you know, around the child and we're walking on eggshells, and the child learns that the smallest thing they do, everyone will back off. So we, in some ways, encourage that behavior. So what I really would say is, if this is a ritual or routine that happens, let's, you know, at the minute you leave the house, and you leave the house the way that you want to, and the minute something happens that is a behavior, challenging behavior, and I, you know, from the many emails, it sounds like there's a few of them, you should be focusing on one at a time, really, because it'll get confusing. But whatever the behavior is, when it occurs, just walk back home, like immediately go back home. And your child will very quickly, you'll be shocked how smart our kids are in terms of figuring out that, oh, every time I do this, we end up going back home. That's not what I want. So I better not do this. And so you just need to do that. And then gradually you can shape it so that none of the challenging behaviors are occurring when you go for a walk. And you can make the walks longer because now it will be more pleasant for you.
My heart hurts for this dad, because I listen, I remember a time when my child was 2.5 and 3. We started card intervention at 3, but I remember how he would run for the traffic, how we couldn't even go for a walk outside because he wouldn't hold my hand. If I held his hand, he would lay down. I called it the Gandhi maneuver. He would do civil disobedience. And if I let go of him for a second, he was running for the street. And I would cry and think, we're not having the experience we're supposed to have. I'm not enjoying my kid the way I'm supposed to. What about like I had pictured us taking these idyllic walks through the forest where we'd pick up a leaf or an acorn and we would study it. It would be all this one. We weren't connecting with nature or with each other. And we became closed into our house because we couldn't go anywhere and I didn't know what to do. And I believed with every fiber of my being that was going to be every moment of the rest of my life. And then we started card intervention, and within 2 weeks of starting card intervention, we crazily took our son to a Dodger game. Like, what were we thinking? But I remember going to the Dodger game and holding on his hand for dear life and thinking he's going to run and I'm going to lose him in the crowd. And he was that much better in 2 weeks because he understood what the rules were. And so it was like that quick. But I still couldn't like be with him in public and let go of his hand. Like he, you know, we still couldn't do that. And I remember our community would do these big concerts in the park every summer, and we would go, and my husband and I would, you know, be hanging on to him. Kids would be running everywhere. And I would think, who are these parents that can just let their kids run and know that their kids are going to come back? And I saw teenagers, and I cried and said to my husband, is there ever going to be a time where we walk into a place and we can say a park or a building or whatever and say, all right, we'll catch up with you later, and walk the other direction from our kid and know that we're going to see him again and he'll be alive? Is that ever going to happen for us? And I believed in even that moment, and we'd already started intervention, but I was like, I don't know. I totally can do that now. And I know that isn't everybody's story always, but I just want to fill you with some hope that is at least a possibility that this is not the rest of your life if you get the right help right now. That's all.
And on that note, Shannon, I think as with anything else, you know, sometimes the tasks that we have are long, and you can't look to the future. I appreciate that you said this, because I think for so many parents, it's the fear of having to deal with this for the rest of your life that's so discouraging, right? And it isn't the case. Like if you do nothing at all, things change pretty drastically after your child passes their teen years. So I would really not fear a lifelong thing happening here. The way to look at it is just today. Yes, you're right. You're not in the woods, discussing acorns and all that, but you are making a huge difference. You're just teaching your child in a different language. Look at it that way, because the language that you were using before just didn't work, and you're looking at a new language now, and it is the time to do that. And for this dad, it's so early. You have a 4-year-old. This is wonderful that we're talking about this when he's 4, because I would have so much less to offer you if he was 14. And at 4, you have a whole life ahead of you, and he's going to change. I promise you. And the thing I want to tell you the most is the kids who are very manipulative are also very smart. And that's a good thing, because if he is really manipulating you right now with his behaviors, that means he's smart. That means he can learn normal societal rules. He can learn those rules. So, don't give up hope, please. This is just, it's a journey, and it's actually a fun journey once you get the language down. So it's all about learning the language. And honestly, that's why I suggested you look at IBT, because there you learn the language of ABA. And it's still hard to do, because none of us want our kids screaming and crying for a while, but it is a lot easier once you know the techniques.
Yeah. Yeah, I also find it ironic that a lot of times parents, we get worried about, and a lot of times parents will write in and ask us questions about, well, my child wants this, and they want it all the time, and they want it so badly, and it's making me crazy. And I remember when I felt that way. Yeah. But the longer you stay in ABA, then you know, okay, part of that is currency. That's what my child wants. So he's desperate to take the walk, and right now that's the bane of your existence. But at some point, that's going to be the high point, because he's going to be willing to do all kinds of things to be able to go for the walk. And once you establish here are the rules on the walk, and the walk only happens with those rules, then he'll adhere to that. But then you're going to be able to say, all right, now we're going to sit down and do math. And once you do math, we're going to be able to go for a walk. It's going to be the plus in your life. And it will get to the point, Dad, where it's pleasant for you too. And it has to.
That is such a good point, Shannon. I always tell our parents that I much prefer to work with kids who desperately want something, whatever it is. Like, I don't care what it is, but wanting something is wonderful, because it tells you that is a major reinforcer for that child. If you have a child who doesn't want anything, trust me, it's very, very difficult to motivate them. So this walk is a motivating factor, will allow your child to change their behavior in multiple ways in order to get this reinforcer.
Absolutely.
Pluses.
It will be good. Okay, moving on. At what age can you give meds to an autistic sensory child? My child is 4 and still we still won't give him anything to sleep. Melatonin makes him worse. Any ideas so I can ask his doctor?
Yeah, so melatonin is a very good thing. Sometimes parents say that it makes things worse just because melatonin has a short cycle. So basically you will take the melatonin and then like 4 hours later, your child wakes up. That is not what you want, obviously. So I think you should probably talk to your doctor about using melatonin together with Benadryl. Benadryl is also diphenhydramine is the chemical in Benadryl. But Benadryl, as we all know, is something you can give to a child very, very young. And it makes you sleepy. It's an antihistamine. So you should talk to your doctor, your pediatrician, about using Benadryl and melatonin to help your child sleep. As you know, Shannon, when I take melatonin, I usually take this brand called Tranquil Sleep, which has theanine in it, and it helps you kind of last a little bit longer. It doesn't wake me up at 4 hours, so it's pretty good. But the reason everybody talks about melatonin is because it's a natural, your body produces melatonin, and it's not like you're putting in a different, chemical into your child's body. But yeah, do talk to your pediatrician. This is a very important issue. Sleep is vital, and so many of our kids do not sleep. So please talk to your pediatrician, take care of this. I promise you, it's one of those things that'll make a huge, drastic change in your child's behavior.
Wonderful. Somebody else wants to know potty training for a 5-year-old with no desire to try. And they said help in all caps with an exclamation point.
Yeah, so potty training is one that we've talked about a lot. It is very, very few children have a desire to be potty trained. So let's start there. The reason typically developing kids get potty trained is either because they want to mimic a sibling or they feel older if they do that, or because it has become embarrassing now, or because they want to please their parents and those types of things. And our kids don't benefit from having those social reinforcers. They don't really pay attention to pleasing the parent or modeling after a sibling or those types of things. But every child, as I was just talking about, has reinforcers. And so you have to find what is rewarding to your child. And if you can't find social reinforcers or what we call secondary reinforcers like toys or activities, then a reinforcer for everyone is food. And so then you can actually use small morsels of some sort of either candy or chips or something that your child really, really wants and loves. And then what we usually do is we follow the Fox and Asrin toilet training procedure, which is generally written for 2 to 3 days. And sometimes we have to repeat it a few trials so that it works. But it is a procedure that involves, and we've done a few shows here, so I'm just going to give a very quick summary here, but we've done a few shows on this subject, and you can find it on Autism Live's library. But essentially what it is that you will spend a couple of days in the bathroom with your child, and it is kind of a backward shaping type of procedure where you start with the child sitting on the toilet for periods of time, let's say 15 minutes, which is actually extremely long, or until they void. And when they void, they get up and we throw a party, and you basically will allow the child now a break, and then they have to go back on. And there's a prep period for this where you're giving the child a massive amount of stuff to drink. You have to set up the bathroom in a way that is very rewarding. There's a lot of things that have to be done for this procedure to actually be effective. And you only deal with urination. The bowel movements come later. But basically, if you follow this procedure, it should work. You just need to be prepared and trained. And I correct me if I'm wrong, but we do have a lot of recordings on this, right, Shannon?
We do have a lot of recordings. They're kind of short. I will tell you that right before the pandemic, we filmed the comprehensive help for parents for potty training. We also filmed one for sleep and one for feeding issues, and we just filmed one for compliance. I will say to this parent, because we haven't put it out there, we're still doing some editing, and I'd love a parent's opinion. So if that parent would like to email me, s.penrod@autism-live.com, if I will trade you, if you will watch the video for me and then give me notes about how it was for you, and if you like anything that needs to be clarified, I'll be happy to send it to you for your opinion. So write to me, s.penrod@autism-live.com. We are going to be sharing them relatively soon. But I would love an opinion before we do that, and I don't want you to have to wait. So how's that for a deal? Write to me. Okay. I do want to address that a parent wrote in about what I was saying about the hope of that someday you could let your child walk away from you. And they said that they don't have this hope. My son is 11 and I still don't have that hope. We've been doing all of the therapy since 2.5 and we still can't trust that he will stay with us. And I just want to send you some love and say to you that, yes, we started, my son started therapy at 3, and at 11, you know, I would say that, you know, and he was done with therapies, and I would say that apron string was further, that maybe I could have him walk 5 feet away from me, but I am the most paranoid parent you will ever meet. I wasn't at 11 saying to him, okay, I'll see you later. That wasn't, I just want to be honest with you that I was not doing that at 11. That I started because I was forced to. People like Dr. Granpeesheh and you know, Dr. Temple Grandin threatened me when he was like 14 and said, enough, you are, you know, he's ready now. But at 11, I would contend for my standards, he wasn't quite ready to be, you know, going off someplace on his own. The world is an interesting place. So I just want to say to you, stick with it. Do what you have to do. And kids change a lot between the ages of 11 and 17. Do they not, Dr. Granpeesheh?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, kids change. But I also want to ask this parent to write in and tell us a little bit more about the therapies they've done.
Okay, she does say, we tell him to stop or to not do something repeatedly. He won't listen. He will do whatever he knows he shouldn't do or not. And then I'll wait to see if there's more. While we're waiting for that, we have a question about building a child's desire to communicate. We have a parent, and we've had this question before about how can I increase my son with his expressive language, but she goes on to say, but what can I do to help him to want to communicate with us?
Yeah, so it's a really good question. And the first thing that motivates children to want to communicate is that they've learned that communication meets their needs. And that's why the very first form of communication is called a demand or a request. And that's because the child figures out very quickly that when I say cookie, I get cookie. And when I say out, they take me outside or whatever it is, right? And so that is the most important way to teach a child the value of communication. It is through manding. So I would work a lot on making sure that the child understands that when they ask for something, they get it, right? That's one. The other thing is the next round of communication in normal development is that you go to tacting. Tacting is when you start to point things out in the environment and label them. The reason that our kids do that, typically developing kids do that, is because they want to get the parents' attention on that thing that they saw, because their reward at that time is that shared attention. So it's sort of like that's the next phase, which is paying attention when the child labels something. So those are the basic formats of teaching a child, or the basic concepts, I guess, of teaching a child to desire communication, or the value of communication. I think that's what this parent is referring to.
Okay. I also want to say too that I know a little bit about this kiddo who is so into space and planets and has a lot of like high interest areas. And just like we were talking before about when we know what the kid likes and wants, it just makes it that much easier. If, you know, I know that sometimes it feels cruel, but I remember standing in the kitchen of a friend who had 2 neurotypical girls. And the youngest one, I was standing in her kitchen, and the youngest one came in and was pointing and doing all this stuff. And the mom was standing there with a cookie, and she was like, "You want this?" And the child was nodding and pointing and whatever. And she's like, "Then you got to say cookie." And she took the cookie and stuck it behind her back. And this was with a neurotypical kid. And the little girl danced up and down, and she was like, you know, and then she said, "Cookie," right? Close enough, approximation. And the mother went there, and she goes, "They'll never speak if you don't make them." And this was a neurotypical, never, and I was there with a child with autism, and I was like, what just happened?
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? And I know that a lot of people think, well, that's cruel. It isn't. It's not cruel, because it's at 2 seconds, and they, I'm standing in line at the store, and I have to ask, can I have that before they're going to give it to me? There's nothing cruel about it, and it's shaping behavior. And when you get into the mindset where you make everything that they want, like in a place where it's visible, and they have to ask for it, but before they have it, they quickly, eventually they learn, oh, this is so much faster than all the other ways I was asking for things.
Absolutely. And Shannon, it's interesting because this is, if you think about it, again, and I always, we always think that we're doing something very unusual with our kids because they have autism, but it isn't. This is normal, completely typical. This is what happens to all of us. Like, if from the moment you were born, someone tried to predict all your needs and just gave them to you, right? If they just spoon-fed you everything before you asked for it, you would also never develop the ability to ask for things or language. So what happens with our kids, I believe, Shannon, is that we, when you have a baby, and I've said this a few times, when there's a baby, as parents, as moms, we have to predict what they're trying to say. We have to figure out when they cry, what's my baby saying? Is he hungry? Is he wet? Is he in pain? What's going on? Does he need to sleep? And we have to figure that out without the child being able to say anything. With kids on the spectrum, what happens is at some point they get a diagnosis, and we as parents think that is, from that moment on, we cannot treat the child normally anymore. And we continue to try to figure out their needs. Whereas with any other child, when they hit 1, what do we say? We're constantly telling our kids, use your words, use your words, use your words. And we don't do that with our kids on the spectrum because we think they can't use their words. And so the bottom line is you need to make the child use their words. And you can then give, and it's all about manding. Manding is very, very important, being able to establish that connection for the child, that if I use my words, I get the rewards that I wanted. That's a huge, huge step.
Absolutely. Okay, our mom that we asked for more information, she says that he has done card, but I don't know if it's our card because there is another card, because she goes on to say that he's at Kennedy Krieger, which is what makes me wonder which card that he has done. But she says card, ABA, OT, PT, speech. He's so very smart and verbal, so it's very maddening to us. She says he's been at Kennedy Krieger in Baltimore since 2.5. He goes to school with them too. We stopped ABA in February because he wouldn't listen, so nothing else could be done.
I wanted to say the same thing. So there is a Center for Autism and Related Disorders at Kennedy Krieger, which is not us. And I don't know exactly what they do. But I promise you that if you do intensive ABA, these issues just don't last. They don't. And even at 11, I would recommend an intensive, not intensive, but I would recommend focus on these behaviors and these issues using ABA. That means using a behavior analyst who's board certified and following those protocols, because and sometimes we can do a million different things, but they just don't get us to where we want to go. I would love to know more. The reason, and I just want to make sure that the parent doesn't feel helpless, like I've tried everything that there is out there. I don't think maybe you haven't, and maybe there's still a solution, which is, 10, 15, 20 hours of ABA.
And can I say that at 11, a lot of times parents are like in so much grief at 11 because they go, it's too late, I'm not going to be able to do everything. 11 is key. Like if you can get, it would be so much better to get this behavior under control now than at 14. So I would tell you that now is white hot, like get the help and support intensively that you need. Like this minute, don't let anybody tell you, oh, wait, he'll grow out of, like, get what you need right now. Okay, we got 4 minutes and I got 2 questions I really want to get at. How to help my son with echolalia and a lot of babbling and some of it functional but hard to understand. Thank you.
So that echolalia is generally a pretty good thing. It allows us to realize that the child has vocal ability. It is a little bit hard for you as a parent to start shaping echolalia into manding, but that's essentially what you do. Your first step is to try to get the echolalia under what we call ST control, or discriminative stimulus control, which means will he repeat or echo when you tell him to. So if you sit in front of him and say ah, will he say ah? Say will he say So can you get him to imitate exactly what you are saying? If you can, that's a pretty good step, because from there you can start shaping sounds and language, actual words. We generally tend to do an order, which is, homogeneous chains. So ma, which would then be ma, the equivalent of ma, you, parent. And then we change that into what we call heterogeneous chains, which is ma, me. And the way that you do that is through imitation, right? Paired with either an object or a picture or something like that. The other way that we develop language, again, is manding. Is those sounds that he's making right now establish a connection with his favorite objects. So like, for instance, if you can get the child to say, ooh, that could represent juice, right? Because it's close enough. And when he wants juice, you hold up the juice, and if he wants the juice, he has to say, ooh, and then you will give it to him. And you gradually shape that to become Jew, and then juice, and so on. And that way you're starting to shape language through manding. So the 2 ways that we form words are through imitation and through requests, manding. It is a process. It's not as easy as I just said. You would need to know some of these ABA techniques. So, I guess, Shannon, my advice would be, again, to go on IBT. We made IBT for parents who would like to train and learn some of these techniques. So ibehavioraltraining.com. And there will be lessons in there, very short modules on how to.
All right, we've only got 1 minute left, but I can't leave this one alone. My child is 17 and the helmet he wears won't stop him from hitting himself. He'll take it off and engage in self-injurious behavior sometimes. He says his head hurts, and sometimes he doesn't say anything. He can be laying down or having fun, and that's when he starts or engages in the self-injurious behavior. This is very serious business, self-injurious behavior.
Serious business, and especially if there's no demand involved, then it is truly self-injurious behavior, and it's not demand escape. So I hate to say this, but you have to find a helmet that he cannot remove. This is very important, first of all. So you're blocking further injury to the brain. The other thing is you should be talking to a physician at this point to figure out what is going on. Like we're talking CAT scans, MRIs at this point to find out if there is something that might be causing him pain. A lot of times our kids can't tell us if there is something that's causing him pain. And then I would make sure that the physician that you see also evaluates medications. That this is where medications like Risperdal come in, actually, because there's a possibility that there could be a medication that could calm him down a little bit, and reduce the agitation that he's feeling that alleviates when he hits his head. So I think, you know, sometimes we pass just behavioral intervention alone, and this is very important to find out, you know, is there something structural or physiological that's causing pain? And then can I medicate him somehow to help him, or is there some other procedure that I can help remove that physiologically? And while you find all this out, then it becomes really important during that time to protect his brain. So you do need to find a helmet that he cannot remove.
Yeah. If nothing else, reach out to your insurance today and tell them that you need help, and for them to help find someone who can help you today. I'm so sorry to leave it at that.
Real quickly, I know we're going over, but my heart goes out to this parent, and I want to say one other thing, which is behaviorists in this case could help him learn to keep his helmet on longer. That's a behavioral intervention that an ABA provider could do, is just keeping the helmet on longer.
Okay. All right. And by the way, they did say that it is not it's not our Center for Autism and Related Disorders. I want to say to that mom, please feel free to email me to keep the conversation going. s.penrod@autism-live.com. Dr. Granpeesheh, we just love you so much. Thank you so much for being here.
Always a pleasure.
And I got to let you go. You're 2 minutes over. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. For all of you, I'm sorry that we didn't get to all of the questions, but we got to most of them. Thank you to Greg. We love having Dr. Granpeesheh on, and we often have Dr. Grandin on, and we will have Dr. Grandin on again in the future. And usually we have Temple Grandin Tuesdays. We preempted that yesterday to feature the Ed Asner Poker Tournament, which is on Saturday. Please go to pokerwithed.com, I believe it is, to get a reminder to go on Saturday. They've got some amazing things. They're going to be auctioning in huge, huge stars. I'm definitely going to be there. Sending love to all of you. We'll be back tomorrow. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we haven't talked about this. Tomorrow on the show, comedian Jay Mohr. We're going to take a sharp left turn tomorrow, but I know we all need a laugh. Oh my goodness, we all need a laugh so bad. And he is one of the most amazing advocates for the autism community. He donates his time all the time. So he's going to join us tomorrow. He's going to bring the funny and talk about some things going on with him. I'm sure that we will all get a much needed laugh. He does stand-up and he does impersonations. He's hilarious. So Jay Mohr is on the show tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss that. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
The advice and opinions expressed by the host of Autism Live and her guests are meant solely as suggestion and should not be in any way construed as child-specific advice. The Center for Autism and Related Disorders advises working with a board-certified behavior analyst who has experience with autism before starting any intensive behavioral intervention. Any choices you make in determining your child's treatment are completely at your own discretion.
I ran and got the earrings, but we're muted. And I'm wearing this funky shirt, you guys. It's this beautiful shirt that's got all these ruffles, but it looks like a dish towel around my neck. It does not look good on camera. And we're so excited because we have Jay Mohr today, and I was hoping to look all spiffy, and now I look like I have a dish towel around my neck. It just is what it is. That's why I had to get the earrings. Okay, so So excited to be here with you guys this morning. We are going to be here live for the next hour. I am Shannon Penrod. This is Autism Live. And this hour is meant to be interactive. And already this morning I was talking to somebody. I said, oh, I got to get ready for big show this morning. We have Jay Mohr on the show. And the friend said, and explain to me again what Jay Mohr's connection is to the autism community. And I love that. It cracks me up because we get into this mindset, all of us, where, it's the all autism all the time. We're called Autism Live. We talk about things having to do with autism, but we forget that every bit of life has to do with autism, right? And Jay Mohr has several connections to the autism community, but one of the biggest one is that he is an ally to the autism community and that he cares deeply and wants to help all members of the autism community to thrive, not just survive. And he donates his time in many different ways. So I'm going to let him talk a little bit about how he got started in the autism community, but he has been a huge, huge ally and donated so much of his time to do comedy shows to benefit autism. And we will hear that he has mentored several comedians who are on the autism spectrum and toured with them, which is a really, really cool thing. And that now he is a life coach and with all kinds of people, but has a track record of being a successful life coach with parents of individuals who are on the autism spectrum. So we'll want to talk with him about that as well. And that's all coming up a little bit later after we take care of some business here. I want to remind all of you that we will be live and interactive if you want to ask Jay a question later on. Robin Yates is also going to be with us. If you have a question for her, you can also be writing that. I always take questions too. We want to remind you there's lots of different ways to connect with us here at the show. We are live right now on YouTube, Facebook, on our homepage, autism-live.com. We are also live on Periscope and Twitter. Later on, we will be podcast as a free download on iTunes with sound and picture, or just with sound if you want to take us on a hike. We're all good with that. We will also be podcasting to Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Deezer. More of those on the way. We always say to you, like us where you like us, and follow us where you follow us. Write reviews if you're going to watch us or listen to us on iTunes. That always helps us. We are here and our mission is to provide information and inspiration. We do not spend money on marketing. That is not, first of all, we're here for whoever wants to participate, and it is not our mission to be the largest, as large as a network television show, but we do want to make sure we get to the people who need us. And so we count on you to spread the word. Please invite people to watch our show. Please tell people if you like us here, let the folks on your social media know that we're here and what you like about us, and that helps them to know about us, and that spreads the word, okay? I always like to remind you at the start of every show when we have time that we have lots of experts that are here on the show with us, and I'm not one of them. My credential to be here, I am a mom, a very proud mom of an individual who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2.5. I'm a former teacher, and I want to help all of you to get to the success that is what you're looking for. And for everyone to make the progress that they want to make, and for everyone to feel a part of something large instead of feeling absolutely apart from everyone else. I know there were times when we started out on this autism journey when, as a mom, I felt like I was on Mars by myself, and that no one understood what I was going through, that no one could understand what I was going through. And just meeting other people who understood completely, but had also been through it and were okay, gave me the hope to know that we were going to be okay. Because if they could do it, maybe we could do it. And I just am here to tell you that if I could do it, I know for sure that you can do it. We always say here that this show is for the great, big autism community, which starts with individuals who are on the autism spectrum. They're the beating heart, the core of the autism community. But we include in that autism community absolutely everyone who loves these individuals. So that's this bigger, vaster autism community. It includes parents, teachers, caregivers, practitioners, aunts, uncles, spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, right? And I know that if we are all together in the places that we should be together, which is not that it's one size fits all, and well, this is what, there's many different aspects of autism, and each individual with autism needs different things, right? So we're not ever going to be like, well, autism, A, B, C, D. It just doesn't work that way, right? But if we can, there are a bunch of things we do agree on about people having the right to make choices, people having the right to opportunities, to love, to work, to live, and have dignity and respect. I think we can agree on all that. So that's what we do here. You know what I always say, si se puede, we can do this, but we hold hands virtually, socially distanced, holding hands, but we hold hands. Okay, so that's my spiel. But I'm a part of that vaster autism community, but not an expert. I just care deeply, and I want to help connect you with the things that you want to be connected with. I have a responsibility to do that because I have enjoyed so much love and progress in this greater autism community. So I owe it to pay it forward. That's what we're here doing. Okay, so we like to start Thursday morning with something we fondly refer to as the jargon of the day. This is when we take on one word, one phrase, one acronym. We try to figure out what in the hey nanny nanny are the experts talking about? What does it have to do with me? Can it save me time, money, and energy? And is it really worth it learning this new term? Okay, so these last couple of weeks, we've been trying to introduce some jargon that it's a little bit more advanced because you guys have asked for it. We know that there are many universities now who are using our jargon terms. The students are using them to study, which just cracks me up. Because we started doing these so we could keep up with you, and now you're telling me that they're benefiting you. Woohoo! I mean, like, that's just makes my day. But we've got some new jargon terms. We've been talking about schedule of reinforcement, and now we're going to delve in to some of the bigger, fancier words that our folks use. We're going to go through two jargons today because we haven't been able to get through any others this week because of various and sundry Zoom issues. So our first one here today is fixed ratio reinforcement. Doesn't that just make you want to beat your head against a wall? Like what, huh? It sounds like math. Anytime you bring up ratio, I'm like math and I'm running for the hills, right? So let's take a look at our actual definition, see if we can poke some fun at it, and then we'll look at the working definition, shall we? So fixed ratio reinforcement is the delivery of awards on a consistent schedule that is determined by a ratio of responses. Thank you very much. It's one of my favorite things when you ask someone to define something and they just take the words and put them into a blender and go, here's the same words right back at you, but I put them in a different order. So if you don't know what a fixed ratio reinforcement is, then do you know what it is? A ratio of responses. Would that help you out immensely? I'm guessing not, me neither. So let's take a look at our working definition and see if we can't make heads nor tails of this here thing. Fixed ratio reinforcement, giving a reward after a required number of responses. Okay, I'm getting closer, but I'm not quite there. So we talked a little bit about reinforcement is when you give someone something and it's a part of a consequence, right? So we ask somebody to do something, they engage in a behavior, and then there's a consequence, right? And if it's the behavior that we want to give them reinforcement. We want to spur them on. We want to do something that makes it more likely for them to do that behavior again. That's the heart of ABA, right? And we talked about when you're giving consistent, constant reinforcement, it's, if you say to somebody, let's take it really easy. If we're saying to someone, sit down, right? So we say to anyone, adult, child, on the spectrum, not on the spectrum, sit down. And we want them to, always sit down when we say sit down. So in the beginning, we would give them that constant reinforcement. So we say sit down, and they sit down and we go, yay, and we tickle them. And, in some cases, for some kiddos, that they'll get a reinforcer that's a toy to play with for a couple of minutes, or they get a gummy or a part of a cookie, because we really want them to see, hey, it's worth your while to do what I ask you to do, right? But you can't do that every time, right? So in the beginning, we would, just the first couple of times, so they go, oh, wow, every time they say sit down and I sit down, I get something. Okay, I guess I'm going to listen from now on. But eventually, we don't want to reinforce every single time. So we're going to make choices about when we reinforce. So one choice is a fixed ratio. So we're going to pick, we're going to say we're going to do 10 trials of sit down. And in the beginning, maybe we're going to reinforce after every 3 trials. So I would say sit down, and the child sits down, and I'm still going to, say good job. I'm going to give feedback, but I'm not going to give a reinforcer. And praise is a little bit of a reinforcer, but I'm not going to bring out the big guns, right? And then we do something else, and I say sit down, and they do it. But on the 3rd time, big reinforcer. So you'll see this sometimes with a token economy, right? That, and kids learn too, that, they say to the kiddo, sit down, and a little check mark goes, or a little sticker goes on the thing for them, but they know I get 3 stickers and it's na, right? So that's a fixed ratio reinforcer. And we do this all the time in ABA, and just keep in mind, you guys, that it's on the way to, you're constantly going to be moving the goal posts. I can speak. Sorry. But, so maybe in the beginning, in the very beginning, it's constant. Then we move to a fixed ratio, 1 to 3, then it's 1 to 10. And then later on, we're not going to reinforce this very specific thing. We're going to move on to reinforcing other things. Okay. So fixed ratio reinforcement, it's a really good thing. Now you know. And it's abbreviated with I think it's an FRR. I think so. Anyway, moving on, we always have a question of the day. Are we going to do the other jargon right now? Are you going to put the other jargon up? Because we're going to do 2 jargons, whatever you put up, Traven, I will go with what you go with. Let's wait and see what he puts up. I may have lost Traven entirely. Did we lose the feed on it, Traven?
Oh, no, it's gonna.
Okay, he's bringing it up. So because we were supposed to do fixed ratio, and then we were going to do fixed interval on a different day, but we were going to do both. But I don't know whether he's going to put up the question or the other jargon first. But think about it, you guys, when you're doing reinforcement, it's the thing that you guys worry about the most in the beginning. You always say to me, yeah, but why do I have to reinforce him for it? He should just want to do it for himself. But none of us work that way. None of us just go to work to go to work. We need a paycheck. Some people work in nonprofit and they don't actually get paid, but they get paid in praise and in the reward of doing something good. There's a paycheck always. Okay, so we said fixed ratio. Now let's talk fixed interval, because this is, there's like 4 main ones. And so this time we're doing the fixed ratio, fixed interval. So let's take a look at what our actual definition for fixed interval is. Wow, is that different than ratio? Providing a reward consistently based on a regular interval of time. And go ahead and let's go on to the working definition, because it's not that hard now that we know what the other one is. A reinforcer is given after a specific amount of time has passed. So for some things, it's easier to give a ratio because we have specific trials, right? We ask you to do something, you do it, right? And I can say, I'm going to give him a reinforcer after every 4 times that he gets it right. But sometimes, like in a classroom, it's a little bit easier to do it over an interval. So for instance, let's say that we've got a kiddo and we know that this kiddo has a hard time staying focused, right? But we will start with a baseline, and we are monitoring to see if the child is paying attention. We need to give them a reinforcer for paying attention. And in the beginning, maybe they can only pay attention for a minute. So every minute, we're gonna go back and go, good job paying attention, and give them a sticker, give them praise, give them, whatever it is that we've determined is the actual reinforcer, right? But over time, we're gonna make that longer, so that eventually we're going to get to the point where every 40 minutes, we give a reinforcer to the child for having paid attention. So you can see, like, it's when you get mindful about your schedule of reinforcement, like, when am I giving reinforcement? because the whole point of it is that you're doing it in a way that it keeps the behavior going. And if, you know, different things in different circumstances will require, and different children and different individuals will require something different. But a fixed interval has to do with time. How much time has passed before we give the reinforcer? The ratio is a number of trials, a number of responses. Like how often did we get the right response? Okay, so there we go. Now you know what fixed interval and fixed ratio reinforcement are. Don't you feel like you could go to college now and get a degree in this? All right, moving on. We always have a question of the day, and I'm hurrying because I want to get to Jay Mohr. What makes you laugh? Why would I bring that up on a day that Jay Mohr is here? I think that a sense of humor is essential. I think that our ability to laugh about things is, I think it's a measure of how mentally well we're doing. Listen, there's been a lot in the last couple of months that's been so hard for so many people, and no two stories are alike, right? But I know a lot of you are dealing with loss. Everybody I know is dealing with loss of some kind, whether it's COVID related or not. You guys know that one of my best friends passed, and it wasn't COVID related, right? But because of COVID, we didn't get to, you know, grieve and be the way that we were. And I said to somebody at some point, you know, usually when you're with loved ones and somebody passes, there's a moment, people are crying, and then somebody brings something up and you all laugh. And you laugh about something that happened. And it's just been harder even to grieve in this COVID madness. And I think it's all the more important for us to get together and laugh on a regular basis. And I had a wonderful opportunity last weekend to be on the phone with a friend, a mutual friend of Joanne, and we started telling Joanne stories and laughing. And it has been one of the most healing things since she passed. What makes you laugh? What makes you absolutely have the giggles? And sometimes when you're stressed, it will be weird stuff that won't be the stuff that makes you laugh normally. Somebody shared a video the other day, and normally I would be like not into this at all, but it showed babies being shown a Jack-in-the-Box for the first time, and the Jack-in-the-Box would pop up, and the babies would just scream in terror. Normally I wouldn't find this even remotely funny, and I don't know why, it just reduced me to a puddle. And that scares me. But it was a lot like those videos where they show a cat a cucumber and the cat jumps across the room, and you know, on certain days you're like, well, that's, you know, I don't know, that's a little like hard on the cat, right? But other days it just gives you giggles. I can't explain it. Maybe Jay Mohr can explain it to us. But in any case, what makes you laugh? Have you had a laugh lately? Because hopefully in the rest of this hour, we will treat you to laughs. Gotta laugh. Oh my gosh, if you can't laugh, it's like, what's the point, right? So tell us what makes you laugh. Right into us right now. Okay, we always have a topic. And our topic this week, which, you know, it's the end of the week, but I think we'll probably extend this to next week, Traven. But we always like to talk on the show about what's your why? What's the whole reason that you're doing whatever it is that you're doing? And if you haven't checked in lately about what is your why are you doing the things you do, please take the opportunity this weekend to check in. Because when you know what your why is, it's easier to do the hard stuff. And when you know what your why is, you're focused and moving in the right direction. If somebody says to you, what's your why? Or they're like, okay, you're doing this thing. What's the why on that? And if you can't label it, it's time to stop for a second and go, wait a second, what am I doing and why am I doing it? Oh, right. Last weekend I painted Jem's bedroom, and I've been saying I was going to do it for 2 years, and I just like couldn't make myself do it. There were these beautiful Winnie the Pooh murals that we moved in and they were there. I just couldn't make myself do it. And it's hard physically for me. It's hard, you know, I got a low smell paint, but it's still hard for me. But it was hard emotionally to paint over the Winnie Pooh. It was, you know, very symbolic, and it's beautiful. I didn't want to paint over it. But I got straight on my why. My kid is 17. He's a high school senior. He deserves a bedroom that's his space, right? And that you know, that he deserves it. I got very clear, and man, that room got painted. And when it was really hard physically, I was like, yeah, this is going to be done. And I'm going to get it done. And then I won't have to worry about it anymore. I'm getting I'm getting the poo off the walls and off my back, right? what's your why? It makes it easier. When you know why you're doing something, it's like, oh, that's why I'm doing it. Yes, no, let me get it done. Step out of my way. I'll take care of it, right? So what's your why? We'll talk about this next week too. Okay, I don't want to waste any more time because on the show today, we have the amazing Jay Mohr, and we are also being joined again by a friend of his and a wonderful autism advocate. There's Robin Yates-Martinez.
Hi.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
You have just a flair and a style that is always lovely.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you here with us, and you are bringing back your good friend to be with us, Jay Mohr. I believe that he is there, and Jay, if you want to start your camera, you can, or you could just talk to us, but I see that there he is. Well, look at this handsome man.
That's me. Oh, go on.
Hey, Jay, I hear through the grapevine that you just had a birthday.
I just turned 50 Sunday. I turned 50 years old. And
yeah, well, you don't look a day over 35. Look at that gun. That's pretty impressive. Happy birthday.
Thank you, sweetheart.
And thank you so much for joining us again. We have a lot to talk about. But I was saying before that even this morning before, when I said to somebody, I got to get off the phone, I got a show and we got Jay Mohr on the show today. I got to go get ready for it. And they said, remind me again, what is his connection to autism? And I was like, there's so many different connections. But one of them, I think the first one, correct me if I'm wrong, is the two of you becoming friends. Is that the first connection that you had to autism?
I believe so. Yeah, Robin and I became friends. I've met her two beautiful boys, and it was, I've been aware of it, but, you know, I don't have, my personal connection is through people that I love that have, you know, become these daily warriors, storming the castle every single day. And it's just when your friends have struggled, you want to make that right. You want to do what you can to protect them. And I don't have a time machine. I can't go back in time and make Robin safe from the time she was a little kid until now. I wish I could. So in the meantime, I can just do what I can and help people that I love, like you.
Well, that has been amazing, and you have been so helpful. And for people who don't know and haven't been with us before, Robin has been a regular on the show. She's somebody that I just admire so much in the world. She's an amazing warrior and an incredible individual who has been working in the field of autism for many years, and is a mom and is a mover and a shaker in a community. We feature Fullerton Cares on the show all the time. You do a lot of different things, Robin. Take just a second to talk about whatever you want to talk about that you do, because you do a lot.
I think the most relevant thing I'm doing right now, as far as our viewers are concerned, is I think all parents, but particularly parents of children on the spectrum, are really struggling with distance learning right now. And so I am seeing it from every perspective. I'm providing behavioral and educational support as a specialist for a school district. So I am trying to help teachers make content for their Google Classrooms, and I'm trying to increase our kids' ability to attend to instruction in this new way. And everybody's learning at the same time. And so it gets really stressful when technology starts failing. People tend to panic. And so I have really upped my coping skill game as far as with my own and with teaching the parents that I work with and the students that I work with to just breathe and to just cut yourself a break, show others grace, cut everyone a break, just breathe, we'll get through it. And so that is what I'm doing now. My district started school this week. And so it's crazy. It's been a challenge, but I'm proud of my colleagues. I'm proud of the teachers I work with and the students that I work with. It does seem like everyone is trying their best, and for me, that's always powerful.
Yeah, it's a crazy world we live in right now, Jay. I'm sure as a stand-up comic and a person who's looking at the world, we have to say, you have a special that's out right now and that people can watch. It's Jay Mohr, American Treasure, which you are, which you very definitely are. And I did not know that it was out. And I got to tell you that Robin joined us a couple of weeks ago on the show, and she was like, Shannon, because I asked, how are you doing? And she was like, Shannon, have you not seen his new special? And I was like, what? Because I've been under a rock, let's admit it. I've been busy with the COVID wheels, but it's available in a lot of different places. We were able to rent it on Apple TV and watched it. And Robin had said, you got to watch it. It's hysterical. She knows that I love your humor. And I think we rented it for $4.99. And when I think about what we would have paid to have gone out to see you, and my husband and I sat on the couch with the air conditioner going with fans on us and laughed our tuchuses off, which we needed, Jay. People need a laugh right now. But it's available.
If you laugh your batukas off, that's how you have that Cheney punum. With this special, there's no Mishigas, there's no Chazarai with the jokes or the laughs. Let me tell you something. I'm as proud of American Treasure as I am of anything, any acting role, anything. I really can say they filmed me. There's no way to say this. You know my heart, so you know who I am. So know that I'm saying something that sounds audacious and gross. This guy filmed me for 1 hour when there was no potential in my body. It was just a rocket that took off. It was just insane. It's one of the best. It's the best. I feel like it's the best I've been, and I feel incredibly odd that somebody actually filmed that with 6 different cameras in front of.
That's amazing.
I mean, that's really how I feel about it. And I think it was my second special I filmed that summer. I filmed them both last summer. One of them got bought so far, the other one not yet. And I just loved it. And it was only about 80 people in the audience, because then you can't really do a show. You have to communicate. You guys said something about distance learning. And I was curious, when you're distance learning, Robin and Shannon, does it, I got to think it gets like pretty claustrophobic for any kid. Does it help if you're able to bring, like if I came to your house, Robin, every other week on say Tuesday for a half hour, we just, I don't know, I threw a deck of cards in the air and we ran around and we picked up all the red ones. Well, I'm just anything. Is that like, what's needed? That to me seems like a break. It could also be detrimental because it breaks the routine that's already established. So what can be done to make distance learning better? What's a solution? A tiny solution.
So I think you hit the nail on the head, right? And at this point, especially if we're thinking about, I'm really concentrated on our special needs population, particularly learners that have more moderate to severe challenges. And so,
Robin, let me interrupt you.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to take the Gene Simmons doll and just push it out of frame for me.
Why? Is it freaking you out?
Because if I can have Paul
Stanley, fine.
And Ace Frehley on the other side.
I could sit in front of Ace.
I thought it was some crazy wallpaper that she had.
Oh, this is my bedroom.
I'm pretty sure Peter Criss lives in her basement.
He's over here on the end.
Yeah, Gene Simmons is just, there's an old joke. What's the difference? You remember Elvis Presley's manager, Colonel Parker? He was a terrible businessman. Don't do A Star Is Born. Sell these handkerchiefs with your name on them. What's the difference between Colonel Parker and Gene Simmons? Colonel Parker stopped screwing you when you die.
Oh, no.
That's a great point.
Oh, no. I don't know.
Kiss is one of the all-time best bands, and you know them more from their stupid pinball machines than Shock Me or Christine or Love Gun. Come on. All right, let's go back to what you're. So this Robin Yates, darling, tell us what you can about distance learning. There seems to be controversy, keeping attention, keeping them focused, having routine. But what's that little bit of light solution-wise? Help us, darling. We're all geezers.
I think you hit the nail on the head that the way you can help is by providing some kind of respite to either the parents by doing something like hanging out with their kids for a little bit. If you felt comfortable doing something like that. One thing I'm doing is I do a Zoom class that's fun. So it's distance learning, but it's rock and roll themed. And we basically dance and learn about rock history. And so I have a lot of parents tell me that their kids, even if they don't do all of the dances or whatever, will oftentimes sit and at least just watch that and really love it. And so that's their little break that they can take to just breathe and collect themselves. And it's a way to make the distance learning platform more reinforcing. So even if you're not able for whatever reason to leave your house and go hang out with your friend's kid that's struggling or something like that, a Zoom meeting either with mom, who's probably desperate to talk to adults. I mean, I was grateful to have something to put makeup on for today because I'm just in the house all the time.
But I can't break up I don't know what your school day is in your home. I can't break up your homeschooling schedule. So I can't just show up with lasagna as a respite, you know.
Oh, please show up with lasagna to my house. We will disrupt whatever.
I could just come and like play for your boy. Just sit with Harlan, just play like my favorite bass lines, and like we'll just.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, everybody needs a break in the routine. Everyone.
Well, and everybody just needs fun.
International Dog Day. Does he always have his tongue out to the side?
Lady party. What's up?
Lady party. Oh.
Is that a preset? The tongue always to the side?
She had her teeth taken out, so there's nothing to hold it in.
Oh, baby, she's a senior dog, right? She's getting up there.
She's the best. Just the love of my life. I don't need no man, no way. All right, so the best way somebody you know, Robin, can help alleviate the stress. I got to phrase this question better, and I apologize. How can moms and dads who are educating at home and online their autistic children what is something they can do that gives them that respite?
I mean, I would say rent your special. And I'm not just saying that because I
like that. Hey, you know what? Shame. What do I care? Because you're right. You guys rent my special, American Treasure, jmohr.com.
Have a break.
iTunes, Amazon Prime. It's on Shannon's has it on her old reel-to-reel, and her husband's got a ham radio in the basement. And he tries to get my voice just right. jmohr.com, the easiest way. That's an hour. So yeah, maybe I'm trying to let the parents know that it's okay that they do that too, because we feel
exactly. Yeah, don't feel like you have to be superhuman. Definitely give yourself that break. And I think it's really important. You know, we're always talking about antecedent manipulation, things we can do to prevent our children from engaging in behaviors before they happen. We need to do that for ourselves.
Changing what before it happens?
So making changes to a child's environment or the demands we're placing on them so that we can minimize the occurrence of any problem behaviors. And I think we need to remember to do that for ourselves. So if I'm getting a bit stressed out, it's okay for me to take that extra break and, you know, watch something on YouTube or listen to one of my podcasts or do something that's going to take my mind off things that might be stressing me out.
So I gotta say, Jay, I think you're already doing things that have the potential to help us, like the special. But I don't
like the word potential. It's a dirty word in show business.
Well, okay, but here's the thing, because I want more people to participate in it. That's where the potential is. But I understand that you do some pretty impressive life coaching, and that you have some clients that are families on the spectrum. And I think that for we can't give away what we don't have. And when we're saying to the kiddos, you know, we want you to do this distance learning and we want you to stay calm, if we're not coming from a place where we understand what we're doing and why we're doing it and are right with ourselves, it's much harder to do that. So I just want to put it out there that you already have a service that's available to people if they want to be using this time in COVID to be helping their kids, helping themselves. move forward instead of stay stuck, you have an outlet for that.
You're very nice. Thank you. I do, and I can help. I will help whomever. I haven't not helped somebody yet. Fingers crossed, I guess. CoachJJ37@gmail.com is how you can reach out to me directly for life coaching. It's not free. I'll send you a non-disclosure agreement for your privacy, for your protection. Trust is earned. I'll earn it. I'm not in a hurry. I do it via email the most because the words are chosen very carefully before you hit send. And it's funny because I was just in my apartment for so long, and I was just taking all these like life coaching notes that I got transcribed for myself. People carrying guilt are actually kind of passive narcissists. Nice theory there. How to get rid of worry. All right. Yeah, just some things. I had a big revelation the other day. I was paddleboarding and I was thinking about like an ex-wife, another ex-wife, a couple old friends. And I think in my life, there's a few times I went, let's see how they do without me. And you know what? Everyone does really fine without you. Everyone just keeps humming along without you. There's no one on earth going, I can't believe we let that guy out of our lives. We're 70 and destitute.
I would argue on the other side of things, though, that just like It's a Wonderful Life, if I were to add up all of the ways that you personally, Jay, have just touched my life and enriched my life, and let's multiply that to times the billions of people whose lives you have touched, if you weren't here, it would leave a ginormous hole.
Oh, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here.
Okay.
Don't worry. Oh, I mean, did I say something that made you guys get like freaked out? Like I'm not.
No. But I mean, just the idea of saying that the world doesn't continue without you. I think that you.
No. I mean, in relationships, like you know what? I'm gonna get a divorce. Let's see how she does without me. Guess what? Maybe she's got a new guy, new job, new house, and she just doesn't think about you at all. She's doing fine. I'm not me specific, or. Like, I'm not even going to talk to those girls anymore. Let's see how they do without me. You know what? Hey, sweetheart, they're doing fine without you. Like, it's amazing when we remove ourselves from something stressful to things going back to the online learning. It's such a stressful thing. We just want to short circuit and remove ourselves. It's going to go on without you. You can either get behind. So, Robin, this is what I did as a life coach. I made a list of how to be sure you're the best educator you can be. One, minimize variables is what you're saying, like breaks in the routine, disruptions. You want to make sure like the guy that comes in to water the one plant in the corner because it's sick and it's got brown leaves or something. He comes in on Tuesdays at 10. He can't come in Tuesdays at 10. We're doing this now. Minimize variables. Number two, know your triggers. Know what makes you have a different frequency where you're not immediately, you can identify it and stop pushing that onto your child, I guess. Three, you need recess, you need PE every single school day with your kid. That's my little 3 list thing I made up just now for maybe moms or dads of.
I think we need to make a meme.
Kids.
Right. Well, you hit the nail on the head, really.
My son, I barely get out of public school in New Jersey. He's gonna have to stand in line to become a hair sweeper at a barbershop. I mean, he'll be an idiot, trust me. I can do one thing exceptionally well, separate people from concern. That was my job as a kid, and that's what I've turned into my revenue. But I tried to give myself a mohawk during quarantine, and I didn't do it right. I looked like Friar Tuck, a mohawk.
I loved it.
Well, thank you. I had to shave it all. You need hair in the front also to have the mohawk. Now I'm assistant principal of like my son's school. Really? I couldn't do a mohawk. It's a line. I messed up a line. That's geometry and geography right there. I'm failing the guy. So I cut hair on the side now and I'm assistant principal. I like it. And I have.
So your boys are going distance learning then, Jay?
Yeah, I sent them to Japan and that's real distance learning though. And we just shout over the ocean. Yeah, I mean, they have to. I don't know what the alternative is. I mean, I do know a couple. I tried to get my 9-year-old into a micro school. Then maybe having it doesn't have to be a teacher with like a $65, $75 hourly rate. Like look, it's we the people. Let me tell everybody something for real here. Don't normalize this. There's no rank and file. The rank and file has bent us all over coffee tables at this point. If you can get a college student that'll tutor your kid for a couple bucks an hour in your home with the curriculum you're getting, I'll go to court with you if anybody's got a problem with that. We have been failed so impossibly, so egregiously, systematically, and this is not a political thing at all, it's a fact. We have been failed completely. We the people. The NBA canceled the season on a Wednesday, 6 p.m. I sat down, I knew when it happened that this was serious. The people saved the people. The people are the ones that are social distancing and saying, hey, let's not go meet there, it's kind of weird. Some of the people are sitting in restaurants because they get unlimited breadsticks because, you know, they can't help themselves. Ugh. Anyway, do what you have to do to educate your child. There are high school kids that'll go from high school right to your house with wearing a mask, leaving their shoes at the door, washing their hands, that'll tutor your kid on whatever 3rd, 4th, 5th grade topic. You know, they'll do it because you wear tight blouses, literally. They'll just come by and keep doing it. So just don't normalize this. And don't you dare anybody out there think this is the way we're all supposed to do it. It ain't. It's not.
I gotta ask this, Jay, because you know we've been talking about this at home. That so
You
everything.
say you. Oh, sorry, I fired myself up.
But there's such a need for comedy right now, and there's such a need to make fun of the craziness that is our reality, and yet a lot of comics are locked down. Like their schedules are canceled. There's no.
Comics are locked down. I mean. Yeah.
But like I just feel like somebody needs to find a way to do stand up from their living rooms. Because I feel like you probably have an hour that you could do just on social distancing, and we would line up to see it. Is your mind working this way at all, or are you taking some time?
I mean, that's how my mind goes all the time. You got to keep in mind, I was 16 years old, and I was 17 years old. And I was driving to bars in North Jersey, asking them if they want to have comedy night, run by me, 129-pound, 17-year-old wrestler. Anyway, everybody can do shows on their computer right now. We're feeling that out. I've done about 6 Zoom shows. I've done a bunch of podcasts. I did a live show in North Hollywood a couple Saturday nights ago, and it's a memory I'll never forget. It's already nostalgic. It was one of those car parks, like in a Tarantino movie in the Valley, where like you park actually right under where you sleep. Like those like crappy, there's like little crummy poles barely holding up that apartment. Like 8 cars going to there, 8 onto that side. And that's where the show was. Each couple had a parking spot, 2 people per parking spot, and they were spaced also. They'd skip a couple parking spots. The stage was the back of a pickup truck. Everyone's wearing masks, Shannon. You don't know if they're having a good time by looking at them.
It's crazy.
Oh my gosh. How did I miss that show?
I don't, it was quick. It came together quickly. And I'm going to tell you something. It was like I was at Woodstock. That's how I felt. I felt like The Who performing with an attitude because Hendrix thought he could follow us. And he did, by the way. It was the best. I mean, there was no money. I don't know how those people got in. They didn't pay anything to get in. Everybody, I don't know where you get the folding chairs. I don't know how he got all of his neighbors to not park in the carport that day, but it was great. We need comedy. You can get my special. If you can figure out a way to get it for free, get it for free. I don't really care. I'm not in this for the money. I've done that already, and I've given all that money to someone else because we broke up. It's totally fair. I'm not bitter. Oh my God. Here's the thing about COVID I've learned. My neighbor's pretty dumb. They think they can save their lives by walking in the middle of Sepulveda Boulevard. Like, what am I, like patient zero? I'm wearing a mask and I'm walking. You see me coming and you just walk out into traffic. Your whole life you're told not to play in the street. Now people are walking down the yellow line of, you know, La Cienega. They're like, I don't want to get sick, man. Stay away from me. That's all I got so far, really, up the top of my head.
I'm glad you brought up what it's like to perform to a masked audience, because I'm really missing comedy. I wish I would have known about this show, because this amount of time in COVID marks the longest I've gone without seeing you do live stand-up since 2013.
We've already agreed. I will come to your home and do comedy for you and Paul. What am I?
And he has done this for me on the phone for my
Orange
birthday.
County, hollering your name until your living room falls on top of my car.
I think it would be. I think that would be amazing. But I'm glad you.
Look at that, Shannon. Come on.
It's pretty impressive.
Get with it. Come on.
It's pretty impressive.
No, but I'm glad you brought up performing to like a.
You know what's not impressive? I'm 50 years old and I'm flexing my biceps on a TV show online.
That's hot.
Well,
You know?
Yeah, really, is it? I mean, you know, maybe if I'm on.
It really is.
Flex your arms on that TV show, then yeah.
Flex them all day long. It's always appropriate.
Wait till you see my glutes. Check these out. No.
I was ready.
Triggers. Minimize variables. Know your triggers. You must have recess and PE every day also.
Yes, the physical thing. But how about adding in there must be fun and laughter?
Look, I'm not an educator, sweetheart. Don't push your politics on me.
But if my point is, you know, people say, well, we got to have a life. You can have fun and laughter in different circumstances in different ways. And like people can rent your special and people can find a way to, but if we're not laughing, what in the heck are we doing?
Did you say we have to have a life? Is that what you said?
We have to have a life. People keep arguing that. Well, I have to have a life.
You're right. You know I'm with you all the time. Don't defend anything. I'm with you. You're right. To everybody out there feeling like we have to have a life, guess what? This is it.
Exactly.
This is it. The law of the universe is you adapt or you go away. If you don't grow wings, you die. If you don't get rid of your wings, you die. If your tadpole doesn't become a frog, he gets eaten eventually by a fish. Big fish eat the little ones. I take a fish this big, I put on a hook, I throw it in the ocean, I catch a perch this big, or I catch a barracuda this big. A calico bass goes to eat my barracuda. I have two of them now on the same lure. I was wearing a GoPro, I filmed it. And then me and my buddy Carl at the same time, we looked up at the sky like, who's gonna pull us out? It's predator prey out there. This is your new reality. You have
exactly.
To adapt, and you have to evolve or you will go away.
And for people who are like, I have to go or do this or else I can't be living, I'm saying to them, I agree with you completely. And if we're not having fun and laughing at the thing that we're doing right now, I don't know what the point is. But you brought up the wings thing. I have to tell you, I was thinking about what's my favorite part of your special, and it's hard for me because I love when you talk about relationships and how women think about men. I have material for you, Jay.
I want to hear it. I like it.
Yeah. But I also, I have to say, it's like choosing a favorite child. I love when you talk about being on sets with other people. I love when you talk about Christopher Walken and being on set with Clint Eastwood. But I'm dying to know, you ask Christopher Walken a question, and I'm dying to know what your answer would be. If you could fly or have a tail, Jay Mohr, which one would you choose?
That might be one of the best setups for that ever. Well done. I'm not kidding. I go to radio stations all over the world and they go, so tell us the do the Walken thing story, the tale. I'm like, well, you just said, the punchline. You set it up so, like we're talking. It's nice. So Christopher Walken, I'll make this very quick. He said, I asked him once, what would you rather be able to do? Would you rather have a tail or be able to fly? Because I just said something stupid, idiotic to him. And he goes, a tail, of course. Well, first he goes, I'm so glad you asked me that. A tail, of course. You can always get on an airplane with your tail. So I would rather be able to fly because I'm a perv and I know there's sunbathing topless somewhere and I'm going to figure it out. You want me to be honest? What do the kids say? Keep that real? This is keeping it real. Yeah, I'm going to keep it real. Come in. I'm going to fly around the neighborhood. Okay, she's never been underwater. All right now. Yeah, I'd want to fly. That'd be cool.
Okay. All right.
How about you? Who's gonna pick tail?
I would pick tail.
Yeah, I knew it. You would?
Yeah. Yeah.
Robin would have a bunny rabbit tail. What kind of tail?
We've decided on tail. Paul and I go back and forth about this, but we've decided tail.
You'd have a bunny rabbit tail, right?
Absolutely.
Paul would have like a brontosaurus tail, like crap, we'll whip it.
Yes.
Just and what kind of, this is
doing
great.
demolition.
I'm gonna join it now. Shannon, what kind of tail would you have?
I would have a big, long, thin tail that could like open doors, do things. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like
I've spent a great deal of time thinking.
Like a cartoon chimpanzee sidekick.
Yes. Yes.
You could pick locks.
Yes. Yes.
Check this out. Beaver, big flat. I'm going beaver. How about my house? I'm gonna have the Mitch Hedberg joke about beavers. He goes, I love their houses. Mitch Hedberg's joke is, I love their houses. No, not beachfront, beach on. No, not lakefront, lake on. I just want that big flapping tail. Make it rough.
Do a lot of damage.
This is the best conversation I've ever had. My cheeks hurt from smiling because we actually chose our tails.
That's it's impressive.
Thank you, Robin, for accommodating my OCD by having Ace Frehley in the background.
It's okay, but I won't say anything negative about Kiss Gene Simmons publicly. So I know a whole different side of him. And his birthday's just 2 days after yours.
Gene Simmons has been wonderful to you.
Oh, you have no idea. Yeah.
That's why I just said it out loud on a television show.
Well, yeah. I can't say enough good things about him. So not everybody lives up to their public
I don't think there's an audience
persona.
for that though. So you don't have to worry.
Yeah. Oh my God.
There's no like Gene Simmons chat rooms or like clubs. He really gets kicked at a lot. So maybe you can start the like, he's been really good to me club. You know what? Kill all that noise. I wrote down your 3 steps to homeschooling. Can you read it?
Yes.
Minimize variables. Something else it says.
Know your triggers.
And then you got to have PE and recess. But this is the thing. Daily. Got to be daily. You want to change your life, you have to do something different every day of your life.
Can you mail me that? I have the set list collection. I have the set list from Jay's special, his
on the
most
back
current
of a life
special.
coaching index card for
Share your why. Yeah.
For my wrestling coaching. I heard it in somebody else's coaching podcast, and it's like about CEOs. You have to explain your why. The people that work for you, do they know why you do it? Why is this your passion?
I don't know if you probably didn't hear. Every day, every week, we have a topic of the week, and our topic this week is know your why. That's exactly what it is. I mean, like we just showed the
intuitive all day.
It goes full circle, because I was saying earlier on the show that if you don't know what your why is, and if you can't articulate it,
index cards.
It's a magic trick. You picked the topic.
This and picked one.
That's great.
You freaking kidding me?
Watch the tape back. We had the slide that said know your why.
And notice that I am in no way surprised that he nailed this out of nowhere, because that's JJ.
That is our topic this week.
Why am I here doing this? My why is I can't fathom what a struggle and how angry making and how sad and afraid it must make people to have to do what my friend Robin does basically her entire life. So it made me realize what I can conceive of as compassion is not it's not the volcano, it's the atoll. It's the top of the volcano. That's the island you see in the water. There's so much I don't know about people's struggles. So anytime I can become more aware of that, it helps me to become more compassionate. And being an addict, I have to try to be of service every day, or my thinking gets a little haywire. So the fact that it's share your why, know your why.
Know your why. Yours is share, ours is no. Yeah, well, I think because it makes sense. Makes sense.
You know why mine is share? Because if you know who am I, the why is its own answer. And what do I do is its own answer. Who are you?
I love it.
Shannon, what's your bag?
So my why, and I was saying this before, is that I have to pay forward what I got, because I was alone someplace thinking that I was on Mars, and the universe conspired to show me what I could do to help my child, and I didn't think I could do it. And people helped me to get through it, and I have to show other people that they are not alone, and that there are many paths. There's not just one path, but that there's help and there's hope. So our show, our mission is to provide information and inspiration, and so that people can not, and I was saying that this is something that you teach, Jay. Earlier I said this about how to thrive, not just survive.
I'm going to show you how you're thriving and not just surviving, and I have proof right now. You said the universe, universe conspired to show you the ways that you could be of service for your child. The universe has never conspired at all. The universe is a golf course. When you go play golf, the holes don't move. There's no counterattack. You don't go, oh my God, this grass. You're always mad at yourself. The course is just the course. Don't hit it off the back of the tee. You won't be as frustrated. Choose a different club, but you got to keep getting at it. The universe didn't conspire to help you whatsoever. You needed to know what you needed to know. You handed your wanting to control things over to God, the universe, your higher power, the great electron in the sky, and you figured it out. The universe, I promise you, Shannon, is completely indifferent to your life going well or unwell. It's just the universe. You did that. So you are as powerful as you think the universe helped you become, but you're actually 10 times more powerful than that. You're an exceptional woman on your own with no diorama to look at, no blueprint, with no history of this is how this gets done because my mom taught me when she was raising me as someone on the spectrum. You didn't know what to do and you figured it out on your own. So you're no longer allowed to say the universe figured it out publicly, because that's not going to help as many women or men as then. I just sat down and I had to figure out, how am I going, because I am going to help my son or my daughter. And that's what I did. And then I stood up when I was done. That's what will empower people.
That is so sweet. I kind of, gave the short version, because what actually happened, Jay, is that in the middle of the night, I was on my knees praying to my higher power and saying, please don't let me mess this up. Please show me what to do and be clear about it. And I was having to work a job, I don't know. I think that I used to do a little bit of stand-up, not a lot, but I did all, my master's degree is in theater, and I didn't have a way to keep food on the table. So I was working as a designer for a closet company. That's how I was putting, helping to put food on the table, and prayed to God and said, please show me. And if ABA is the thing for my kid to do, show me a kid with ABA that's okay, and that it's all right, so that I can see that it's going to be okay. And not even 12 hours later, I got sent to a home for the closet company. Comes up on my beeper, the address, and I go to their house, and it is a family with a child with autism who's now speaking. And they introduced me to the company that we ultimately got ABA from, that I now work for. It was not a coincidence. I said to God, show it to me. And when I pray to my higher power, I always say, help me to see it. Sometimes I'm oblivious, make it clear, because sometimes I don't get it. And, I have had the experience of saying, I need help with something, walking into a bookstore and having a book fall on my head, literally.
I've never not had that answered. When I have emptied myself of any iota of ego and just, I'm lost, I need your help, I have never not had that happen to me. Like you're just
same for me. And when I say make it clear, it's like, boom.
I think that's when all the good things happen to us, when we're still, that's when all spiritual enlightenments and things like that happen, when we, I'm trying to write Robin's address on an envelope as I speak with you, and that's not a very good way for me to.
You're a busy man.
I'll text you.
I want to tell you this, Shannon.
Yes.
I'm so lucky I get to come on the show, and I know you're going to say that you feel so lucky and great. But and you know what? Yeah, you are. Sure, great. But I need you to know we're like, it's 50-50 now. It's, I learn more every time I'm on with you guys, and I'm very grateful to have a platform to just simply say, I can't imagine, and if I can learn anything to help, please teach it to me. And it's a place where I actually keep making the depth of my compassion. You and Robin and friends like yours, you make my compassion deeper, so I'm always going to show up.
Well, it's a privilege to have you here and to have you in our lives. I know Robin will say the same thing. We didn't really even talk about the fact that you also are someone who over the years now has been mentoring young comics on the autism spectrum, having them open for you. You're a mensch. Don't let anybody fool you.
That's my friend, that's my friend, so I don't consider it mentoring. It's just him being.
Shout out to Keith Rezo.
Keith, my man. Keith being on the spectrum is like the least interesting thing about him to me.
Which is what makes you a mensch.
Yes.
Honestly.
Sure, I accept. It just societally makes me go, I don't know, how else anybody behaves, but Keith's great. And Keith, the joke that did it was, when I was a kid, everybody's making paper airplanes. I was making paper airports. That's the joke that froze me. I was walking in the improv and I felt like somebody threw something and hit me in the back. I was like, oh my gosh, what a joke. Keith, I love you, brother.
Yes, he's amazing. He's been on the show too. Hey, we're out of time, but I want to get to a couple of different things. And I love that one of our viewers posted for us on Facebook that Jay Mohr, American Treasure is out now on Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, Dish, Direct TV, and more. Listen to the album on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Pandora, Sirius XM, and more. They say, I have listened to it already and is very funny. Take it from this autistic person. It is highly recommended. That's like the highest compliment.
Wow, look at that. My new demo.
There you go. So
I mean, I can say it's his best work and I'm his biggest fan. I am fully qualified to make this statement, and it's fantastic, and it's my absolute favorite.
There we go.
Let me know when I can come bring one of the dogs to your house, and I can teach music or teach Carlin or something.
That would be amazing. Anytime, we're here.
Really, like, just pick a day next week and I'll do it.
Okay.
But Jay, tell them really quick. Tell them really quick. Where can they reach you to be to do life coaching again?
Coach JJ37@gmail.com. Coach JJ37@gmail.com. You'll get a non-disclosure agreement for your privacy. It's not free. I'll explain it all to you. Like, if you're stuck, get unstuck, because you're not really stuck. You feel it. I can't speak how you feel, but you're pretty amazing. You're pretty great every time, I promise you.
You're both fabulous. I appreciate you so much for being here. Thank you. And we'll say
you're fabulous.
Love you back.
I love you, JJ. I love you, Shannon.
Love you. Thank you so much, Robin.